We've crisscrossed across the pond, but drivers from Full Metal Motorsport meet up once more with sim racing's finest here at the home of NASCAR. Just a few days ago, this track was home to the longest race of the NASCAR schedule, but the trucks have dumped the virtual dirt out onto the track, and we are set to go racing here in the final round of the 2021 iRX All-Star Invitational presented by Yokohama. Welcome back to RaceSpot TV and iRacing Live as we venture once more to one of the newest tracks on the iRX calendar and the final competitive outing before we kick off the summer and the iRacing Rallycross World Championship qualifiers. My name is Arjuna Kankipati, and alongside for today's action is Jonathan Simon with Tyler Maxon in the production booth controlling all the action. Excited to be back for this season finale, Johnny, as the month of May comes to a close. The pro drivers are just about to get underway for the final time this season. We've got 17 of them out there on the track right now, and what a track it is to close things off.
Yep, certainly Charlotte Motor Speedway, the first time we visit for Rallycross here on iRacing. It was only introduced a few months ago. It has the most dirt of any Rallycross circuit on the iRacing service. It's a 59% dirt, 41% asphalt split, the second slowest layout for Rallycross on iRacing. That's tied with Atlanta Short. Hell is the slowest out there of all our pick of the litter, and it's the only North American Rallycross circuit where the Joker is not a shortcut. We head the long way round, and it's a 2.6 second Joker Delta at the merge. Our pro racers will give us a feel for what the competition will be like, because in an hour's time, the best of the best from the sim racing world head to Charlotte, and we'll head to compete for the final time in our All-Star Invitational.
And in the sim racers portion, it's been Johan Harth versus Joni Ollikainen in terms of winning these events. The people who've been at the top of the timing sheets over the past 3 rounds don't seem like they're out there in qualifying, as we've got 5 minutes left in that. Let's talk a little bit about this format, Johnny, because with 17 cars, it's the biggest field that we've seen over these 4 races. It means 3 heats, 2 last chance qualifiers, all building up to the 10-lap feature.
Yeah, certainly. So stakes are high. Qualifying is on at the moment. The drivers still sorting out their lap times. We've seen Kevin Hansen on pole for round 1. He's not racing today, but Krogstad has taken the last 2 pole positions. Will he sweep it and make it 3 from 3? Henrik Krogstad from iRX 2 won the championship in 2020. We've got drivers like him from Europe. We've got streamers and sim racers like Emily Jones racing. We've got Nitro Circus Star Car. We've got fans racing. We've got drivers from IndyCar and Connor Daly. We've got journalists. We've got a whole lot more ready to race and ready to pounce for the final time. Who will snatch pole for the first time out?
So 3 minutes left. I must say, by the way, for Connor Daly, just wraps up his month of May, and what a month of May it was, leading his first laps in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and if a tire hadn't gone falling through the sky and landing on his cars, very fortunately, no damage at least done to the car over the long term. Daly recovers to finish that race. This track, by the way, Johnny, we haven't really talked about its real-world heritage as well, but Charlotte has seen, back in I think it was 2014, rallycross action in the real world as well.
Yep, Red Bull GRC visited here in 2012 and 2013 and 14. 3 years in a row, although it was an entirely different circuit to what it is right now. The circuit used the front stretch in the pit lane in 2012 before they visited the dirt track in 2013 and 14. That's across the road. That's not part of the oval. But here we get a glimpse of what a rallycross venue could look like on, well, if Red Bull GRC still existed, number one, but potentially when Nitro Rallycross and some other events come up. Here's Henrik Krogstad, your pole position sitter for the last 2 times out. Currently on provisional pole. He's whacked those anti-cut strips. He's only got a lap in hand at the moment. Now, if you smack the wall during this section, we haven't seen many walls in Rallycross Arjuna, that can delete your lap time. It's a lot like the Phoenix layout.
And look how close he's trying to get all the way to the inside, and the little bit of grip that you can find if you just nudge your inside tires onto the grip of tarmac that's there. You'll also see, Johnny, I tell you what, let's try and ride on board with Krogstad across the start-finish line and talk us through a lap here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Well, there you go. That's a lap of Charlotte right there. Let's move on to somebody else as he ends his run. And it's... now he'll be picked up here. Luke Knupp in his first event. So this is Luke on board. So a bit of background on Luke. He's coming in today and in his first event, like we said, he races in the Lucas Oil Off-Road Racing Series. I didn't bother to mention the lap there, Arjuna, because we know he's not going to give us any run for our money. Third time's the charm, Jonas Force. We'll talk about Luke a little later on when he gets the... when he gets his time to shine. Jonas Force races in the Arca Series. Coming through the final couple of corners here. So this is the final sector of the racetrack. The Joker entry is to the left. 2.6 seconds added to your lap time. That's as quick as you can take it. These are your final couple of corners here. 6 and then 7 the left-hander. This is the start-finish line. So he begins a lap here. I'm done. I'm sorry. I thought he was about to bin the car. That was insane. Look at that. He flicked it. I didn't even know if that was a Scandinavian flick. He launched it into the first couple of corners. There's the jump onto the tarmac now. We talked about this circuit having the biggest dirt split of any circuit on iRacing. 59% of this layout is covered in dirt. Missed the apex by a touch through turn 4, then through the hairpin of turn 5. And this is a good overtaking opportunity during the race. And that's a lap of Charlotte. We finally got one.
I really do enjoy it. That addition of all that extra gravel just means that you have to be so much more in tune with your car. It'll be interesting to see how elbows out some of these drivers get, as here comes Forrest to complete a lap. There's a bit of contact there that should invalidate it. Krogstad on provisional pole. Emily Jones, who is a very multi-talented driver here, not just on the iRacing service, but across other simulators as well, qualifies in second. Tanner Whitten in third. Luke Knupp, Connor Barry rounding out the top 5 then with just 10 seconds left to go. And we'll work our way into the first of our heat races. Be curious to see what this type of race will be like. Of course, only a couple of cars will make their way into our 10-lap feature. Qualifying then comes to a close. Let's go trackside to take a look at our inverted starting grid for heat number 1. It will be Mario Bonfante Jr., the quadriplegic driver racing with specially modified hand controls, taking us to the pole position. Once more on his outside, it'll be Ron Capps, the NHRA Funny Car Champion. Connor Martel, Chris Yandel, row number 2 with Luke Knupp, Henrik Krogstad, the final row of our 6-car grid. And some info on Chris Yandel. He is the Chief Marketing Officer for Vermont Sports Car. That's essentially what Subaru Motorsports USA is, so the team that Scott Speed represents, Brandon Semenak, and even your sim racers such as Mitchell de Jong and Bobby Zelensky last year.
Hopefully they're competing again this year in the World Championship. We'll see who they pick up going into those first few rounds of the qualifying Pro Series.
It's great. We're really kicking off the summer of iRX here. The 3 wide row number 1. I think we are ready to get underway then from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. As we wait for the lights to illuminate and for the cars to get underway, they start on the main straightaway. The only time you'll really see the cars up here on the oval, they'll peel to the left and make their way down into the racetrack. Here we go then for the first time. Competitive racing from the Charlotte Motor Speedway and rallycross action. It's Yandel with a wonderful launch down into the first corner. Bonfante Jr. gets a bit of contact with Caps there, who's all the way around and at the back of the field very early on, Johnny.
Yeah, he drives that Napa Auto Parts Subaru, and he's got a long way to go in this event. Your top 2 advance as usual. They'll have to take 1 joker, and you can take to it this first time round that you pass by. Brilliant TB time for Chris Yandel here in the lead. He's got Krogstad following. You have to say Krogstad's the favourite. Had a peek up the inside of turn 4, and the door will open because Yandel struck the barrier.
Just a bit too committed trying to get that car turned in. Let's Krogstad go to the front. And the crucial thing here for the pro drivers, Johnny, no damage will be on offer. So we can see these guys being a bit more comfortable with the barriers. See a couple of cars down onto the joker, that left-hand longer section that takes them back to the start-finish line.
Now, I don't think it's any faster, though. That's what you've got to be careful about. Brands Hatch, the joker, maybe you can get away with it, but not here, as Krogstad will probably run away with the victory. So we saw Yandel and Luke Knupp in their first appearance in the All-Star Invitational. They've taken to the joker. Everybody else, that crown on our graphics timing and scoring screen right there is not lit up for those 3. And it's an extra 2.6 seconds added to their lap time. So at the moment, if Krogstad takes it, he will fall behind Martel. So it's not a good time to take it here. You won't be in some clear air. But Martel's doing a great job as we watch this scrap behind between Martel and Yandel. So Martel's not on the pace right now, and he's yet to take the joker. He's not in good position so far in this heat.
Great pace, though, shown by Yandel, who, Chief Marketing Officer, showing that doesn't just know how to market race cars, but knows how to drive them fast as well, getting the move done on the America's Rallycross Lights champion, Connor Martel. Still waiting to see who comes down into the joker. Krogstad with the gap of about 3 seconds. I'm very impressed right now here, Johnny, with Yandel's pace. The last time around, he was a half a second quicker, than Henry Krogstad out front.
Now, he's an avid sim racer in his spare time, is Chris Yandel, whenever he's not helping Vermont Sports Car, and he's won 75 dirt races on iRacing, so it's nothing new to him running at the front. But to beat Henrik Krogstad, an RX2 runner, is a different task in itself. We know Krogstad's got the ability to compete with the sim racers, competed in the World Championship, not in this one, but with the best of the best on the simulators, and he thought it was such a struggle for him last year just to get onto the pace. I thought he was being a little bit self-deprecating. I thought he had the pace at times for sure when he put some practice in. He's run a country mile off the apex there through 4. I think this race is all but done and dusted, though. I'm pretty sure Krogstad and Yandel should have the transfer positions. Krogstad at the moment, now it's a bit unofficial. He's taken to the joker this time by. Will he fall ahead of Yandel, or will he join behind him?
You can see on the side-by-side it's going to be neck and neck down across the start-finish line. Yandel to the race lead for a moment. I think he backed out of that one very slightly, knowing that Krogstad had the outside line, but white flag in the air, Johnny. It's going to be neck and neck for the final transfer position, I think, because, never mind, Connor Martel yet to come down onto the joker. I thought maybe our graphics just hadn't updated there.
Cracking scrap between these two. At the end of the day, they shouldn't squabble. Yandel should advance to the feature, and he will start from 3rd. Remember, it's an inverted feature. And he goes for a little love tap down the rear end of the Team Yellow Squad Subaru, representing Hanson Williams Esports, as they head into the final couple of corners. Hitting a bit of curb never hurt anybody. Krogstad will win. He'll start towards the back of your feature. How about this, though? Chris Yandel, in his first appearance, advances.
What a fun race that we had there, and I really didn't know what side-by-side action would look like here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, but Yandel showing that you can get the move done if you've got the confidence to do so. So it'll be Krogstad and Yandel that will line up at the tail end of our feature grid as we take a look at these results from Heat number 1. Heat 2 already getting ready to rock and roll here. So I think we can go ahead and take a look at the starting grid, Johnny, for heat number 2 here in round 4 of the iRacing Rallycross All-Star Invitational.
And starting at the front is your Nitro Circus star car, Jim Deschamps, who starts alongside Connor Daly. Jonas Forss in his first event starts from 3rd. The rest of the grid is headed by Brandon Semenak in the Subaru Motorsports USA car. He just watched one of his bosses do quite well there. Connor Barry in his first race as well will start in 5th, with Emily Jones the quickest of this bunch in this inverted grid, starting from the back. We're about to go racing.
And here you can take a look at that starting grid. So it's a 3-wide row number 1, 2-wide row number 2, and it'll be Emily Jones all by her lonesome, Johnny, diving her way down into the left-hand corner of turn number 1.
Yeah, excuse me, we got confused by the the timing there from the stewards. Thought they were ticking down towards race start. It was just ticking down to the grid, so I was trying to rush that. But yes, Emily Jones, who's racing right now at 7 a.m. in the morning. Talked to her last night, had some good fun here, flipped the car at Sonoma and still won the heat. See if she can do the same here today. Very quick sim racer, very popular streamer, very quick in whatever car or whatever sim you put her in. And she certainly enjoyed these ones, trying to match it with the best of the best from the motorsport world.
We're just waiting for Jim Deschamps in the Nitro Circus star car to take to the grid, and we will be ready to get underway here with heat number 2 action, and really enjoying another trip to a brand new track on the iRacing Rallycross schedule. Had a number of cars tracks added to the schedule. Doesn't look like Deschamps is gridded, just like Bonfante the last time around. The green flag is in the air, and we are underway as Connor Daly will lead the field down in towards turn number 1. Big send around the outside as 3 wide they will go, and Daly makes things work and leads the field down across the start-finish line. More contact, and Daly is going to ride the wall and get turned to the back of the field.
Goodness gracious, can't avoid contact, and Connor Daly in this rallycross event suffered from some in the Indy 500 too. Luck just not on his side. Emily Jones here right behind the driver of Brandon Semenak, who leads the field away. So Semenak, freestyle mountain bike rider. He's won gold medals in that transition to the rally world. He's got some hungry drivers right behind him. Connor Barry in his first event as well. And Jonas Forss goes, well, he barreled into turn 5, the hairpin. And we don't see any other driver pop in shot. I think they're all involved in an incident.
We'll wait and see how the timing updates itself, because it's all gone a little bit crazy with Daly. The only car that we know is down at the bottom. Semenak across the start-finish line to start lap number 2. Does look as though Forss will be in second with Jones. I think the polite way of saying this is bundled out of the way at that right-hand hairpin, Johnny.
Well, let's watch and see what happened. Well, that's what happened there. So wasn't even ready to clench my fists watching that one as they all piled into each other. So that was caused by Jonas Forss, the Archimedes Series driver, in his first event in the All-Star Invitational for Rallycross. Semenak, very underrated when it comes to these All-Star events. He's very quick for a driver who's gone from 2 wheels and not even an engine, just from pedaling. He's a mountain bike rider, like we said in the past, switched to rally as we watch Jonas Forss here continue. Oh, that's Emily Jones, excuse me. Continue away. Forss, though, ahead there. I think he clouded the wall, and he's still in the wall. He is. So Jonas Forss in his first event has caused absolute chaos.
And I think that was Barry who came on through to collect Forss for good measure. Does promote Jones up into the second transfer spot here today as Brandon Semenak now 5 seconds clear, scampering away with victory in heat number 2 as Jones gets up into the dirt on the outside. Doesn't look as though it's worn as much. And the reason I bring up the track state here is something that we were talking about back at Brands Hatch as Semenak down onto the Joker, Johnny, is track resets. It wasn't something that we really had to contend with in last year's World Championship. It's something that increasingly race control is becoming more comfortable doing over the course of the race weekend.
Yeah, we can speak to the drivers, see how that affects them. It's certainly something you see in the real world too, as Semenak still leads this event. Jones second. You know, those track resets though, good to see iRacing simulating stuff that you would get in the real world. That's the job of a simulator, you would hope. And certainly can do that anytime we want. You can set the session state, maybe have a more worn track. We saw it happen in Charlotte in Red Bull GRC many years ago where you had the dirt track. It was Very difficult to drive on one year, and I think the drivers didn't complain after practice, but gave some feedback, and they ended up fixing up the circuit, and it became much better to drive the next day during the rest of the heats after qualifying as we enter the final lap of this heat. So as usual, in every heat, the top 2 advance, 1 joker available to the drivers. And it looks like so far, it's only Jonas Force who's yet to take the joker, but top 2 advance.
And you said a very important point there, Johnny. It's about learning and always improving. I mean, this is the first time for several of the tracks, as I see Emily Jones up into the wall trying to just close the gap to Semenek out front, that they've been raced in a competitive circuit and sense rather, and being showcased in a competition like this. So Brands Hatch and the other tracks, just like Charlotte as well, will go through some evolution as we enter the World Championship season once more. Heat number 2, though, goes to Brandon Semenek, driver for Subaru Motorsports USA. That transition from 2 wheels to 4 going quite well. So we see Jonas Force down onto the joker in the closing stages of the lap. He will start, I do believe, then, towards the pole position in the last chance qualifiers, and we'll have 2 of them, Johnny, here today.
Yeah, certainly. So second chance for anybody else who doesn't advance through. Connor Daly, goodness gracious, he sidelined himself there at the barriers. And at the end, he's crossed the finish line sideways, NASCAR style. Why not in NASCAR town? And so the results of that heat, like we said, Semenek and Jones advance. Everybody else to your LCQs as we look at the grid for Heat 3 later on. So there's your results. Good mix of drivers who've made it through. Landon Huffman will head the field for this one. Only 5 drivers, 2 new ones, Trevor Teal and Parker Retzlaff. Trevor Teal, by the way, interesting story on him. He is a fan of Nitro Circus. The fans over at the stream there have let him race today and voted him to race. He's in a 2nd star car. He was a big booster of their Twitch channel, and he's had a brilliant opportunity here today, the 30-year-old, to race and compete with his favorite drivers that he has watched throughout his lifetime.
And clearly not too slow as well, because he's starting right in the mid-pack of this inverted heat number 3 and surrounded by some very impressive drivers. Someone like Parker Retzlaff, for example, an ALCA Menard Series driver with the 6th highest oval I rating in the world. So lots of sim racing experience here today as well. Lights about to illuminate as the engines rev and the cars squat down here on the main straight at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. 3 wide row number 1. It's not such a great launch from the inside, but in that fan car, I think Trevor Teal did get a very good launch, but he's rather tentative on the entry into the corner. And as we come across the start-finish line, it's Huffman who leads from Parker Retzlaff up into 2nd with Trevor Teal in 3rd.
Actually awesome that Trevor Teal gets to run his own teal color. Bit of argy-bargy through the first couple of corners. We always love that extracurricular activity. And just like a linebacker, Trevor Teal bullies his way in through into the 3rd position at the front. That's a great scrap for the lead there between Huffman and Parker Retzlaff. Huffman into the wall. That opens the door for the Fiesta of Retzlaff. He's going to take to the outside of turn 5 and goes for the switchback. Cracking scrap between the 2 and Retzlaff into the lead.
And there was slight contact behind as Teal and Whitten having just as fun of a scrap for the 3rd and 4th positions, but the front 2 transfer positions run away then as Retzlaff and Huffman down across the start-finish line. It's Trevor Teal who's followed in by Tim Stevens, who's been quite quick over the past 3 rounds here in the iRacing iRX All-Star Invitational. Good to see him back in action in his Subaru. Talking about the Subarus, Johnny, one thing is I think Stevens has made a mistake, touted to turn 1 in the background. Subarus have been very popular with a certain Apex racing team in the Sim Racers portion of this All-Star Invitational. Not so today, as they've made the switch over to the VW Beetle. So interesting to see that change of manufacturers as we come to another new track.
Well, you know, I'm not a driver, but we'll have to ask one of the drivers about this, where they feel that every car is almost pretty much equal. Not exactly the same, but they don't think there's like a 3/4 difference as we watch a couple of drivers head to the Joker. Landon Huffman's one of them. And something to discuss later on for sure. The Subaru is certainly the favorite. Long wheelbase car, certainly suits a lot of circuits, but when you get to those tight circuits, such as Iowa, that are tarmac filled, those shorter wheelbase cars, the drivers say, not me, I'm not an expert, but the drivers say are much quicker. And yeah, that's all I got to say about that. How about Huffman into the wall as well after leading this race for most of it? And it's been an entertaining heat. By the way, happy birthday to Parker Retzlaff. Celebrated his 18th just a couple of weeks ago. and now could potentially celebrate it in style with a heat victory.
Very much the quickest car out on track right now. The only car breaking into the 43-second barrier as he goes even quicker this time around with a 43.346, slinging the dirt in his Fiesta, and up over the jump he goes. Either will be down onto the Joker this time or the next time around, and you'll get a great look here. And you say you're not a driver, Johnny, but you are a very quick person when it comes to racing here in the iRacing service. When you think about the next season of the World Championship as well, this might be the first time in 4 seasons that we have all different rounds. We don't know the exact length of the championship just yet, going to a different venue every single time.
Well, we've got the circuits to do it, and I hope we have more than 9 rounds. Should have 12. I'm going to petition for that. I mean, how good is that, by the way? We never get that shot out in motorsport when we watch broadcasts. We can do that here virtually. Watch from the driver's eye. And we do get it in motorsport sometimes, I join it, but it's not regular. We can just flick to any driver and get that whenever we want, as we watch Parker Retzlaff maneuver around the first sector. And he will win, like I said, in style. But who's going to end up in second here for that transfer position? Does Tanner Whitten have the gap on Landon Huffman? He might snatch it over the line. Huffman, with all those mistakes, may not advance to your feature race.
Well, let's see. Whitten is down onto the Joker this time around. How committed does he send it? Oh, very committed. Makes that corner very nicely as well. Rolls his momentum in that Fiesta, and he should hold on fairly comfortably to the second transfer position. So Retzlaff takes victory in heat number 3. Whitten in second. Huffman in third. Trevor Teal and Tim Stevens complete the finishers, heading to launch last chance qualifiers here today. So here are the results from that third heat. Retzlaff and Whitten will advance in the Fords, and it's Subaru's heading to the last chance qualifiers. I think we're already heading into those last chance qualifiers, Johnny. It's Tim Stevens, Ron Capps, and Jonas Fors on the front row, with Landon Huffman and Luke Knupp right behind them.
And as usual, 5 laps of action, 1 Joker, and we will go green for your first of 2 last chance qualifiers, LCQs as we refer to them, or consolation races. Depends however you want to refer to them. On the sim, it's listed as C main and B main. It doesn't work like the traditional C and B main that you normally have, where, you run 2 different events with the same drivers. Anyway, doesn't matter. Racing about to commence here for the first of 2 LCQs. A decent field, as we said, to advance. I'll have to gamble. Stevens should advance. But Landon Huffman, will he join him? I certainly think he has the pace, but he has to start from 4th.
It's going to be a hectic one. I think elbows will be out here. Stevens, like I said, has been quick as the lights are ready to illuminate and the engines pick up in song. And we are green flag racing once more. Wonderful start from the inside as Landon Huffman gets the whole shot down in towards turn number 1. He will lead the field around the outside, though. Bold from Jonas Fors, who's back into the race lead. Contact further back in your pack. It's a bit of chaos as we plunge down into turn number 1.
Well, is that Stevens Day done? That was the 64. Your editor of Roadshow and from CNET as well. He writes a lot about motorsport and sim racing, and Huffman's involved too now. 2 of your favorites in this consolation race have spun around and are towards the back of the pack. That leaves Jonas Fors in the lead.
So the trick is, don't get Johnny to predict you as being one of the favorites to advance, but clearly the commentator's curse has come down here. It's going to be close, though, between Fors, Knupp, and Capps for the final 2 transfer positions. Take a look here on the replay as Stevens just maybe closing the door very slightly there, Johnny, and we'll watch and see what happens to Huffman here down across the jump.
So I didn't catch what happened to Huffman as I was collecting and unraveling the ball of string that... Oh, okay, so he's just been literally shoved out of the way. Now, I don't play gridiron or American football or whatever you want to call it, just football in America. But that, I feel like that's what a hit would feel like if I tried to take on a linebacker head-on. That was Jonas Fors just shoving his elbow into the way and absolutely bullying Landon Huffman into the barrier. Nothing wrong, though, that Jonas Fors did that time round.
It's just a nice little, I think it was just a little bit sideways, and unfortunately for Huffman, nowhere to go. Rallycross is a contact sport if we're going to bring out those sports analogies, so sometimes things like that happen as Ron Capps is down into the Joker, and I see why, because Luke Knupp is looking very, very racy. It's not going to be good enough for Capps to get back out in front, but I think just trying to get some clean air here and try and see what happens with Fors in front as well. Force is 2.5 seconds clear of second, Johnny. And oh, Caps makes a mistake. I think that makes the Beatles' life that much easier.
Goodness gracious. Ron Caps deciding, hey, the race has been boring for about 20 seconds. Let me just spark up some entertainment out of nowhere. So Caps in fourth has already taken the Joker. And remember, it's not a shortcut. Even though we're in North America, it's the only North American layout on iRacing that's the long way around. And so that's what you'll see. Normally the drivers say, hey, we want to take the longer Jokers towards the end of the race. And there's no lap time to be gained. It's not like Barcelona, Arjuna. Remember the drivers talked about over there how if you took the Joker with 2 laps to go, you gain an extra second. You take it on the final lap, you lose a second. It's not like that at Charlotte here. The exit doesn't give you that extra run. So we will see a lot of these front runners like Jonas Fors potentially take to it on the final lap, which, if anything, will grant him better grid position because he will advance, but he won't win this consolation race.
Of course, these guys get inverted as well, so Fors will start that much closer to the front. I think the gap is such between Fors and Huffman now that he should be pretty comfortable. As you can see, Nupp is really looking racy and be someone to watch for starting at the front of the feature. Fors and the Beetle down onto the Joker. How close will it be with Landon Huffman as we come to the final lap of the race, Johnny?
Well, we'll let the pictures do the talking. Well, the fact you can't even see him on screen until there, Arjuna, I think answers your question.
It was a bit tentative there from Fors, so I wasn't necessarily sure if he was going to lose even more time, but going to be pretty comfortable. And we've got one more of these last chance qualifiers to go, Johnny. So what have you seen here from this race that you expect from race number 2?
Well, entertainment and carnage, certainly. So half a lap to go. Well, you see in the background, Landon Huffman, he struck that wall quite a number of times, and it will be his last time because these two will advance ahead of Luke Nupp in his first ever event, the 14-year-old. He's a Lucas Kart champion, races in the Off-Road Racing Series. And Jonas Fors, the Arca Series driver, advances too. We say goodbye to Landon Huffman. He has been impressive, though, in rallycross events. He should have advanced from this one. Ron Caps has been a little inconsistent week to week, but he's here for a bit of fun, bit of exposure. And unfortunately for Tim Stevens, that accident at the beginning of the race cost him any chance of advancing. It's not often that Tim Stevens has missed a feature race in our All-Star Invitationals. He's made a couple already, and this will be the first time he'll miss out. All season, actually, excuse me. I said a couple, but he's made every feature so far, and this will be the first of the 4 that he's ever missed out on.
The last time I was commentating, because I missed out on the action last time out, I saw Stevens end over end tumbling. Not the way that he wanted, I'm sure. His season's kind of been remembered. Here we go, though. Second last chance qualifiers. And look at how many Connors are in this field. It's Jim Deschamps, Mario Bonfante, and Connor Daly, the front row, with Trevor Teal, Connor Martell, row number T, and Connor Barry rounding out our 3-row field. Moments away from getting underway here, Johnny. I'm looking forward to this one.
And all the Connors are spelt differently as well. It's as if... Don't worry, I was going to say something that might get me in trouble, but they will be focusing on racing and not their names. As long as the engineers don't go, Connor's behind you, and you go, are you talking about myself? Are you talking about Martel, Barry? Who are you talking about? And then you're into the wall. You don't want that distraction at all. We're about to go green, though, for this consolation race.
That's Connor with an E. That's the one that's behind you there. Still waiting for Bonfante and Deschamps to take to the grid. I don't think they will be in action here today. So just 4 cars vying for 2 spots. How will this work out? Wonderful launch from Trevor Teal in the Nitro Circus fan car down in towards turn number 1. Connor Daly with momentum in the USF or Subaru, though, powers down in towards the start-finish line. Unlike what he had in his heat race, no sort of contention. He will lead down into lap number 1.
That's a little bit confusing. Jim Deschamps and Mario Bonfante Jr. haven't even taken to the racetrack today. But anyway, whatever. A Connor leads this race, a Connor in second, a Trevor in third, and a Connor in fourth. Try and establish that one. Does that help you out at home? There we go. Timing and scoring screen. Up on screen. They're all in a battle here. Someone into the wall. Well, that Teal car is definitely a Trevor. Trevor Teal in third. So it's Martel first. Daly second, Teal third. Well, we'd like to establish who's third here, but now you've got a top 3 of Connors.
And I think for Connor Daly, he's feeling a little bit scared. Not necessarily what you think about someone who's just raced at an excess of 230 miles an hour in the 105th running of the Indianapolis 500. Teal gets back pointed in the right direction, and I think Barry as well. So 1 and 2, it's Martel and Daly. We'll wait and see. how things go on, because of course Barry has already come down into the Joker here on lap number 2. It's Connor, and Trevor. Interesting order there, Johnny.
I love how he's just become Trevor now for some reason as well, even though nobody's really heard of him before today, unless you're a Nitro Circus fan. There he is, turned around by O'Connor, and unfortunately facing the wrong way. So only a top 2 advance, like we said. And you can see that little green bar splitting those who advance and those who go home. We wave goodbye to them. Connor Daly certainly doesn't want to go home the way he did in the Indy 500. By the way, on a more serious note, thank goodness he avoided any injury from that. That was a very dangerous accident with that tyre stricken on the racetrack. Did remind you, that accident, a lot of what happened to Alex Zanardi, you remember, all those years ago, which was very scary.
It was horrifying, and I mean, it was just very fortunate, not just that Daly was okay, but of course, like you say, that Rahal was able to get out of that one without any sort of an issue. And I mean, you're looking at the Ed Carpenter car, or at least the colors in the U.S. Air Force machine, and we've seen Team RLL in action as well here on the iRacing service in the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup. It will be 2 laps to go here at the line. Martel and Daly still yet to come down onto pit road. And I must say, Johnny, as well, as we head into the summer as well, the month of May, not just such a great celebration out there in the real world, the Monaco Grand Prix, the Coca-Cola 600, and my favorite, the Indy 500. We get to do so many of those things on the iRacing service as well. And for those who didn't maybe watch it, history was made this past May with Brandon Trainer of the Apex Racing team. We'll see their superstars in action when the sim races go onto track. He won his 3rd consecutive iRacing Indy 500. No one else has even won 2 as we watch a battle for 2nd and 3rd.
And that's not luck, as much as some luck can play into your hands in oval racing. That's pure skill. I've only heard good things about Brandon. Very quick driver on the oval side. And in this heat, everybody's taken the Joker except Trevor Teal, and Trevor Teal's in last, so that won't help his case. So it looks like Martel would advance. Connor Daly, though, has got to hold off Connor Barry here in his first All-Star Invitational. Connor Barry's done you have to say, a brilliant job so far, at least today. The 16-year-old, born in 2005. Can you believe it or not, Arjuna? What were you doing in 2005? As we ride on board here from the rear end of Connor Barry, races in the Lucas Oil Off-Road Racing Series 2020 Mod Kart champion. He's raced on dirt for most of his career. And by the way, quick fun fact for you, he's from Temecula, California. Same place Mitchell de Jong and Vicente Salas came from. And those two are very quick sim racers on the Rallycross service. He'll have to go and speak to them for advice, though, because he will not advance to your feature race.
He tried to send it down the inside and almost contact after the fact as well, just for a bit of good measure. But Connor Barry, Trevor Teal, they go home. It's Connor Martel, Connor Daly going to the 10-lap feature. I think Connor Daly will also start on pole position in that 10-lap feature. What four heat races we had there, along with the last chance qualifier. And Johnny, I mean, I really must say, this track, the sim racers have maybe said it's a little bit single file. We've been seeing some great side-by-side action, though, throughout the field here today.
Yeah, certainly been some good racing. Obviously, anything will strike up out of nowhere with the motorsport drivers. It can be a little bit random, a little bit of a lottery, but ready to go for the feature. 10 of the best here to scrap it out. Who will we have a new winner, or who will be our repeat winner in our All-Star Invitational?
You're watching the 2021 iRX All-Star Invitational presented by Yokohama here live on iRacing Live. Don't go anywhere. 10 laps of feature racing action right after this.
Nitro Rallycross took the racing world by storm with the biggest jumps.
That is what Travis was hoping for.
The best drivers. And the most intense action ever.
Come up the inside again. We've got 3 cars.
In 2021, Nitro Rallycross is expanding with 5 epic races across North America. Designed by Travis Pastrana, each brand new, purpose-built course will be the biggest, fastest, and craziest the sport has ever seen. From the mountains to the Great Lakes, the desert and the Sunshine State, Nitro Rallycross is coming to a racetrack near you.
Oh, and that goes sideways over the jump. He spins. Maybe there was contact on the way.
Ken Block, unbelievable! Wow, it's like they're launching out of a machine gun.
Nitro Rallycross, the series, revving up and taking off this September.
Welcome back to RaceSpot TV and coverage of the 2021 iRacing iRX All-Star Invitational presented by Yokohama. There's one thing that separates first place from the rest of the pack, the finish line. High-performance, race-inspired Yokohama Advan tires give you the drive to win. Discover Advan at yokohamatire.com. The NASCAR next-gen cars are here, and you can try them today on iRacing. Now's the time to get in the action with the future of NASCAR, iRacing Rallycross, or any form of racing you can imagine. New memberships are 40% off. Sign up now at iRacing.com/membership to get started. My name is Arjuna Kenkipati, joined by Jonathan Simon with Tyler Maxon down in the production booth. Johnny, 10 more laps of action for the pro racers, and the question I think on my mind is, Henrik Krogstad going to be challenged by the likes of Parker Retzlaff?
Yeah, certainly those two are very quick. Parker Retzlaff has over a 9K I rating on the iRacing service. That's a system used, if you're new to iRacing, to rank these drivers against the community. So Parker Retzlaff is very quick on ovals, but this is completely different. This is dirt road for the 18-year-old, and he's got some tough competition. We've never had a repeat winner in our feature races in the All-Star Invitational. Andreas Backerud won round one at Brands Hatch. Then we head to the next week where Henrik Krogstad ended up taking victory, Martel in round 3, and then today, will we have that repeat winner? It's time for Krogstad or Martel to do that. Martel's in great position starting from 3rd, or will we have a first-time winner? You have to say, though, Tanner Witten looks like he's got some good pace, Chris Yandel as well. Emily Jones is an all-star sim racer. I think we'll in with a good shot here to see a brand new winner for the 4th time in a row.
And really enjoying the action here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, Johnny. I mean, just this past weekend, the Coke 600, a very different sort of racing atmosphere I saw. The virtual dirt has been slung onto the track, and we are in for a treat here for 10 laps of action.
So 10 laps of action coming up. Sorry, Arjun, I couldn't hear you there. So 10 laps of action coming for this one, and one joker available for the drivers. And we'll have a 3x2 by 3x2 grid. And that will mean, obviously, it's a little similar to Lucas Oil when we race there. That's Lucas Oil Raceway, a little oval. Very fun layout. Use that in Red Bull GRC as well. Should be a good one here. This start of the race here has been very entertaining. I like how the drivers merge onto the normal layout.
They start on the start straight. Let's go trackside then to take a look at the starting grid for the final time this season for the pro drivers in the All-Star Invitational. Connor Daly has made his way to the front. He's been very good on the starts. Let's see if he can lead across the start-finish line. Jonas Fors and Connor Martel will complete the front row with Luke Nuck and Tanner Whidden on row number 2. Emily Jones, will be on the inside of row number 3, along with 4 other cars alongside. Chris Yandel, Parker Retzlaff with her, Brandon Semenak, Henrik Krogstad rounding out this 10-car field. For Semenak and Krogstad here, Johnny, I think they'll be ones to watch out for as they charge their way up through the field.
Well, everybody's to watch out for in these All-Star Invitationals. It can be a bit of a lottery. At least we've got some good talent. Look at Krogstad from the back in that yellow Subaru for Hanson Williams Esports, but you have to say, you can't look past Connor Martel. He's got great starting position, you get a clean start, and he's in good contention to take his 2nd victory here in this series.
Here we go. For the final time this season, 10 cars ready to rumble from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. This 2021 iRX All-Star Invitational has been so much fun, but for the pro drivers, it comes to a close here now as the green flag flies. We are underway at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Yandel with a monster launch down in towards turn number 1, looking down to the inside. Martel contact with Connor Daly. That's going to cause a traffic jam in through this corner. Martel spun around as well, and I think that's Yandel who leads down in towards turn number 1. More contact with Emily Jones across the start-finish line.
Goodness gracious, she's been piled into twice. But have a look at the lead. Goodness gracious as well. It's Yandel from Henrik Krogstad. Krogstad from the back, starting last, found his way through all that carnage into second. Will he be our first repeat winner? Chris Yandel's a very quick sim racer. Now, if Krogstad lets Yandel win, is that a Subaru Motorsports contract for him?
That's a good point there. 2 decades of experience working for Vermont Supercars in the sponsorship department. What can Yandel do? He was very quick in the heats. Do not count him out, I would say here, Johnny. Like you said, has a lot of experience here on the iRacing service. Already building the gap as well. 7/10 as we complete lap number 1.
Yandel running very deep through the first couple of corners. Krogstad staying close. Now, if a Joker gap opens up, Krogstad will take it. Remember, 2.6 seconds is the magic number. No gap for Chris Yandel behind, 2.6 seconds. Nothing for Krogstad either. There is a slight gap between Retzlaff and Brandon Semenak, but apart from that, these two will have to battle it out on the racetrack. Krogstad almost turned around by Tanner Witten. Tanner Witten's trying to abuse him and make his way past through turn 5. That's cost Krogstad a couple of tenths. He won't be happy with that, the Norwegian.
No, and I mean the gap now over 1 second is across the line once more. Lap number 3. Only the Beetle of Jonas Fors in the 99 has taken to the Joker as Witten almost slightly wide in through turn number 1. I think that was Martel in his Subaru down onto the Joker this time around. So don't know if that's going to work out in his favor, of course, with so much contact down into turn number 1. I'm very curious, Johnny, if our producer Tyler Maxon can get us that replay of maybe in the side-by-side to see all of the different carnage, because it didn't look like just one incident, not just 2 incidents, maybe 3 or 4 that all came together to cause a lot of carnage.
I think that's a podcast waiting to happen there. There were so many incidents. We could cover that in an hour. All I watched, though, is I had a feed of Krogstad's on board because I wanted to see how he would make his way through the back. And he was certainly very selective, very high IQ driver. Went to the inside and knows that if there was going to be carnage, it was probably going to fall to the outside. That's what we've learned at Charlotte. And certainly Krogstad's done his homework and picked the right part of the racetrack to make his way through. They've dropped Tanner Witten from the pack. There's Witten in the Fiesta. He's fallen backwards. Krogstad putting all the pressure, though, on Chris Yandel. Here is the start. We actually get it. Krogstad just up the inside there you see in that Hanson Williams Esports Subaru. Daly was turned around. That will happen to Emily Jones. She collided with one of the Subarus and she was piled into once. Bam! Twice. Flipped upside down. The 3rd time she's been upside down in the series. By the way, just letting you know, Chris Yandel headed to the Joker. He releases Henrik Krogstad in the lead. I don't know how I feel about that decision.
Right on board, though, with Henrik Krogstad at the start. There's that high IQ driving. I think that's Semenak who tries to dive down into turn number 1. Quick hands as Krogstad squeezes his way all the way through the inside of the corner. Checks up just in time to avoid the carnage and now leads this race almost halfway through as Yandel is cycled back into traffic, tucked up behind Parker Retzlaff right now. I'm not necessarily sure, Johnny, I agree with that decision from the 7 car.
Well, he was mid-pass. We saw them scrapping it out, and so he thought instead of losing some time, I might as well take to the Joker. So the gap between Krogstad and Yandel is now 3.7 seconds. Krogstad's got it. He's got the gap on Yandel, and at the moment will be our first repeat winner. But luckily for Yandel, he's still in with a shot for the podium, but just go for broke. It's the final round. It's your first time in the All-Star Invitational. Hey, impress all the drivers that you market. When you market them, you teach them a lesson and say, hey, look, I'm a pretty quick racer myself. I know what I'm talking about.
And maybe we'll see Yandel back in action later this season. I think that was Nupp in front of him that just clipped that inside wall. We've seen that mistake before, and the Fiesta has come to a stop and still trying to get his way back up to speed. The gap between Krogstad and Witten is up to 2.2, so the 77 Big Yellow machine very comfortable to complete lap 6. Just 4 laps to go in this season so far. Thinking about what we have in store for us as well, Johnny, we've been teasing the upcoming World Championship. We saw the All-Stars in action before Sim Racing's finest last fall in that World Championship. I hope we get to see the same because these past 4 races, even last season, watching these guys have some fun and setting the tone for the Sim racers in front. It's just such a fun experience, and we get to see some of motorsport's biggest names out there on the iRacing service.
Yeah, it will certainly be fun to look forward to for sure. Henrik Krogstad knows what that's all about as he leads this race. Lap 7 of 10. And I think he's comfortably got it. Tanner Witten's yet to take to the Joker. Yandel He doesn't have the gap, those intervals. He's 4.7 seconds behind, 4.6 at the moment, and Krogstad's running away with this victory, the 23-year-old from Norway. He's done such a brilliant job as Henrik Krogstad. This will be his first win since Daytona in round 2 when he won that event as well. The first repeat winner, like we said. If he can get it done, it's not over yet. He's been racing Rallycross for 5 years, made his iRX Lights debut 5 years ago. Racing iRX 2 last year, was the champion of that after only one round. But he drove splendidly in that one round. Can't wait to see what he's got in store for us in 2021 later on this year. There's some scraps down the back of the pack. Semenak will round out the top 5. I've always spoken about Semenak being underrated. He's always up there and collecting some good points.
Down onto the Joker is Tanner Whitten, so Chris Yandel back up into second, but that's going to be a close scrap for second and third on the podium then with just 2 laps to go at this 0.83 mile circuit. Oh no, Whitten clips the inside wall. That will put a damper on his chances of second. Does it open to the door for Parker Retzlaff to come in from behind now, Johnny?
I think the pictures will do better analysis than I will. So Retzlaff still in fourth. At least Yandel's got a podium. I'm happy for him. And a couple laps to go. Krogstad heads to the Joker, by the way, off screen. So the leader finally takes that. Only Connor Daly yet to use that card in effect. Krogstad, there we go. Where does he appear? Not even close. Krogstad will enter the final lap of this event and take victory. Retzlaff just outside the podium by a few seconds now. I think it's all done and dusted this event. At least we see 10 finishes though. Not often we see that with our motorsport drivers.
That's true, in fact, you know, John. I mean, interesting track. We saw chaos at the start, but all of them stuck it out there. I think they're enjoying slinging the track here because it really is a fun track. Like you can see, Krogstad setting it up sideways very early on to try and get the maximum rotation. Here comes the defending Rallycross Lights champion, part of the Hanson's William Esports squad. Williams will have a new representative in the next part of this race when the sim racers take to the track, but Krogstad into victory lane to close off the 2021 iRX All-Star Invitational. It's going to be close between Jones and Fours, and let's see if there's going to be contact between the two of them, because side by side, Johnny, they'll come through this right-hand hairpin.
Nice scrap between these two, running the Fiesta and the Volkswagen. Jonas Fours should pick up 7th here. Oh, I like that bullying from Emily Jones back at Jonas Fours. And I don't think you can do anything about it right now. Will they strike the wall in the exit? They both do. I was going to say they carried way too much speed. Jones crosses the line almost on her roof. That's the 5th time now I can count Emily Jones has been sideways or on her roof in 2 rounds. One of them, she ended up winning after flipping upside down at Sonoma as well. And she did finish the feature last time out on her roof. Well, actually, she didn't finish technically. She caught the checkered, well, she didn't catch the checkered flag, Arjuna, but she was classified, even though she ended the race on her roof. Krogstad will do some burnouts, though, on the main stretch in the background, as he will win for the 2nd time in the All-Star Invitational.
Yandel very impressively in second there, and looking forward to talking to Chris in just a couple of moments' time in the post-race show as well. Whitten completes the podium, so he does hold off from Retzlaff. It was closer than I thought, at least in terms of timing, but maybe just my timing screen lying to me there. Semenak completes the top 5 with Connor Martel, Jonas Fours, Emily Jones, Luke Knupp, and Connor Daly rounding out the top 10. Fastest lap set by Emily Jones there on lap number 9, the 2021 Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup All-Star Series champion. She'll be back in action in just a couple of days' time on Thursday for a special edition of the Porsche All-Stars as they get their hands on the Porsche 911 GT3R. Cannot wait to see what that looks like as well. So we are done with the pro racers and some interviews to get to as well here, and I think we're just waiting to see if we get in Henrik Krogstad as well, but I do think Chris Yandel and Tanner Whitten are standing by. Before we get to them, Johnny, just recap what we saw here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Well, nice scrap. Can't wait to see what our sim racers have got for us as well. Some nice battles. The start was really interesting here. The starts of these races, it's a very intriguing first couple of corners. We only use once in the events those first couple of corners where the drivers have a double left-hander and then we continue for the rest of the race. It's very tight as well, and because of the street circuit field, Arjuna, if there is an incident, it seems like drivers, right, because there are incidents, drivers can hit the wall and come back onto the racetrack. It can be some a lot of ping pong going on, and that's what we've seen here at the start, some carnage, and so the sim racers will have to take some extra care.
Well, our interviewees are standing by here in the RaceBot TV commentary booth, so let's bring in Chief Marketing Officer at Vermont Sports Car, Chris Yandel, who's standing by with Jonathan Simon.
Chris Yandel, welcome along. We got you first of all?
Yep.
Welcome along, mate. Well done on that event. Your first ever All-Star Invitational. You're on to the podium, mate. You've got to teach all the drivers your market now and say, hey, mate, I know what I'm talking about. I'm a very quick racer myself. Well done out there.
Oh yeah, I have been saying that actually. So now I had to come on here and prove it. So yeah, it was a great race. I had a great start, which was the plan was to avoid all the carnage in the first turn, and I had a better start than I thought, and actually got in front of all the carnage and made a small mistake somewhere in the middle of the race. And Henrik was smooth and mistake free, so he took it. But yeah, I'm happy with the second. It was great.
No regrets about that decision to take the Joker alongside Krogstad?
I don't know what I was. Well, he didn't take the Joker with me. He, when he passed me, I didn't want to fight him for a few turns, so I figured I'd just take the Joker. But I don't have a spotter, so I'm blind. I don't know what was going on. I didn't realize those guys. I thought maybe I'd get in front of the two guys behind me, but probably should have battled it out with him for a few laps. But maybe next time.
And by the way, mate, you are no stranger to sim racing. You do try to do it in your spare time whenever you can, and you're pretty quick on the iRacing service. We spoke about you picking up 75 wins statistically in rallycross and on the dirt road side. So you've raced everything from pro trucks to rallycross. You are very quick on the dirt road side of the service.
Yeah, I'm still a rookie, I'd say. I started during lockdown. I decided to try it out, and so it's been probably a year that I've been trying, and yeah, I do Pro 4 trucks and rallycross are super fun. I get on the ovals every once in a while. So, yeah, I do it in my spare time. I don't put a ton of time into it, but a few nights a week I'll get on there. And I've been watching these all-star races, and I'm glad I got a chance to get in here and not make a fool of myself. So I'm pretty happy.
No, you certainly didn't do that at all, Chris. Final thing for you, mate. Heading into the Sim Racers World Championship as well, you're going to field a team, hopefully, for Subaru Motorsports USA?
Yeah, I believe so. We definitely love being a part of iRacing and iRX, and I think we will definitely be involved in the coming championship. And yeah, we really are looking forward to getting involved more, actually, and helping grow iRX on the service. I think it's been growing quite a bit over the last year or so, and I think a lot of people are watching these races and thinking to themselves they should give it a go. So rallycross for sure on iRacing is super fun.
All right, Chris, we'll leave you to it, mate. Well done again, and that's a very, very awesome result for you today. A podium finish in your first event. Keep at it, mate.
Thanks, guys.
So finally, Tanner Witten now. We will speak to you. Tanner, first of all, we got you, mate?
Yeah, I'm here.
Perfect. Hey, talk about the start, man, because this is the first time out at Charlotte for a lot of you guys. It really does feel like a street circuit for rallycross. It was very difficult at the beginning. There's not a lot of room to work with.
Yeah, I mean, getting into turn one, you're really just kind of blind. I'm having to trust my spotter. My brother-in-law Lee was in my ear and just kind of let me know one inside, two inside, and just as soon as we got through there, kind of the seas parted and just allowed us to slide through the carnage a little bit and just try to settle into third and run down Hendrick and in second place.
And also, mate, so you've been in a few of these so far. How have you found it? Some good fun. Would you want the damage to be on in the future for some of these, or do you think that's a little bit too far?
I like that the damage is off. It allows you to make a few mistakes and doesn't completely ruin your race. I think it just keeps the racing a little bit closer and just allows everyone to have a little bit more fun and take a few more chances, I think.
And by the way, what's going on for you racing-wise in 2021? We know you've raced in Rallycross in the past. You've raced in GRC. By the way, you never raced at Charlotte, did you, in GRC? Because you entered in 2014, but I don't think you competed at all. So you wouldn't have raced at the dirt track here.
No, 2015 was my first year. And we didn't go to Charlotte, but we went to Daytona and some of those other places. But no. Racing for me in the future is pretty up in the air. I mean, as you guys know, racing is a money game, and it's a whole lot harder to find that funding and than it is to go driving. So, but just kind of with how everything's been going, I'm it's kind of been nice to just kind of take a step back and see how the health of the sport has been over the last few years, and we'll see how it is over the next few years. But no, it's been a lot of fun to race like I have over the past few years, and really blessed to have the opportunity to be able to do so, and just enjoying my time off now.
Perfect. And, I can echo your sentiment there, mate. We really hope Rallycross stays healthy, stays secure for the future, and we hope to see you in more of these later on in the year, man.
Yeah, appreciate it. It's been a fun deal to run these races, and Chris has always been really helpful in getting me involved. And just I know we talked a couple weeks ago about my current workplace, and we got them on the car for the race this weekend. And
nice.
Just want to thank them and my wife watching the other room, and just been a fun deal. Hope to come back in the fall if you guys do it again.
Well, are you going to thank me for that quickly first of all?
Hey, yeah, thank you for the plug. Thanks for giving me the idea. That was really helpful. Thank you.
No worries, mate. I'm being a bit of a smart aleck, but anyway, we'll leave you to it. Hopefully get to chat again, man. And joiner, Tanner Witten, with a podium. Man, he's been very quick in rallycross cars.
What a 4 rounds for the pro race as well. I mean, carnage, chaos, but ultimately victory for so many strong names. The sim races are almost ready to roll here in the home of NASCAR. We're going to step aside for a short minute. Don't go anywhere as we get set for more action in the iRX All-Star Invitational presented by Yokohama.
Today's new cars have upwards of 100 computers in them, and a dashboard rivaled only by a commercial airliner. But wouldn't it be nice to really know what all that does for you? At Roadshow, we demystify the world of modern transportation with reviews of your next car, the latest news on what's changing the industry, and videos covering every screen and every new feature you'll encounter in the driver's seat. Get informed, get smart, and get going with Roadshow.
In 2018, Nitro Rallycross took the racing world by storm with the biggest jumps.
That is what Travis was hoping for.
The best drivers. And the most intense action ever.
It's gone up the inside again. We've got 3 cars.
In 2021, Nitro Rallycross is expanding with 5 epic races across North America. Designed by Travis Pastrana, each brand new, purpose-built course will be the biggest, fastest, and craziest the sport has ever seen. From the mountains to the Great Lakes, the desert, and the Sunshine State, Nitro Rallycross is coming to a racetrack near you.
Oh, and that goes sideways over the jump. He spins. Maybe there was contact on the way in.
Look, unbelievable. Wow, it's like they're launching out of a machine gun.
Nitro Rallycross, the series, revving up and taking off this September.
The pro races are done. It's time for sim racing's finest to do battle at one of the newest tracks on the iRacing schedule. The Charlotte Motor Speedway has already delivered some very intriguing action, but now it's Johan Hoth, Joni Ollikainen who will come out on top here today. My name is Arjuna Kenkipati, alongside is Jonathan Simon with Tyler Maxon down in the production booth controlling all of the action. Johnny, 3 races so far. It's Hearth that struck 2 of the blows, with Ollikainen a solitary 1 so far. Victory here today really sets the tone for the upcoming World Championship qualifiers and the World Championship itself. This will be very intriguing.
Certainly will. You've got the best of the best from the sim racing world. You've got 12-year-olds, you've got world champions, you've got adults, you've got experienced racers. You even got drivers who have raced rallycross in motorsport. Tommy Horman's raced in Rally X Nordic. Joni Ollikainen looking to make a run next weekend as well. You've got some very quick drivers. That's all that matters here today. You've got competitive drivers. The heat is on. We are ready to go to Charlotte for the first time for our sim racers in rallycross.
And can't wait to see this today as a preview of World Championship action. And let's talk about the upcoming iRacing World Championship qualifiers that will be taking place this coming summer. For the first time ever, it's a standalone qualifying series that will run in the same time slot, which is to be confirmed, as the upcoming World Championship later this year. 10 drivers are locked in. And Johnny, if anyone wants to get involved, head on over to iRacing.com because their chance starts this summer.
Certainly, that is very exciting news. The first time we've heard about that all series. We've got 10 locked in, like we said, the top 10 from the World Championship last year. Boy, can't I wait. I can't wait, excuse me, until the Pro Series later on. We're going to pick up the next 18 drivers that will enter the World Championship. For now, though, we are going to speak to Connor Martell, who just raced in your All-Star Invitational for your motorsport invitees. Connor, first of all, we got a page on you?
Yes, sir.
Ah, perfect, man. How did you like that season? It was a good one, man. All 4 rounds wrapped up. Seemed like you had some good fun.
Absolutely, yeah. It's really cool racing with different people in every race and, you know, all the different tracks. This is my first time at Charlotte, and it's an awesome track. It's super fast, super flowy, and overall, it was an amazing season. We got 1 win out of it and just tried to be as consistent as we could.
And finally, as well, we've got to let you go in a second, man, but hopefully you're back for more of these in the future. But the first thing I've got to ask for you is any tip for these sim races right now? Because when I spoke to Tanner Witten, it felt like that start of the race and most of this circuit, it's like a street circuit. It's like the Monaco Grand Prix of rallycross.
It is. It's super tight, and you just have to, you know, you have to try and stay out of everybody's way. There's so much carnage, and the walls come up quick. Like I said, you're throwing the car sideways in every dirt turn, and if you're not right on your line, you know, it's not going to be good.
All right, we'll let you go, Connor. Thanks for speaking to us, man. Hopefully we see you for more of these. You are very quick, and unfortunately couldn't pick up his second win today. But we'll be back for more in the future. Arjuna, qualifying about to finish for our sim racers. Will we have a repeat pole sitter? We are not sure.
It's Tommy Horman provisionally top with just over 65 seconds left in this qualifying session. And like I had said during the pro portion of this broadcast, Johnny, we've seen the Apex Racing team enjoying the comfort of the long wheelbase Subaru STI over the course of the first 3 rounds of this championship. As we head to one of the newest tracks on the iRacing schedule, they've made the switch over to the Beetle. And you can see on the left-hand side of the screen right now just how many Beetles are in action here today.
Well, a lot of them. It's good to see. Certainly could suit this circuit. Certainly could see a change in the World Championship. All depends on sponsors as well as to who runs which car. Tommy Horman, though, good snatch. The first pole position of the All-Star Invitational for him. Ollikainen has been the man to beat all series. Picked up 3 poles. Don't think he'll pick up his 4th here today. Some news on those two. Horman is leading the Rally X Nordic Lights Championship. He's absolutely dominating that series, taking his talent from the sim to motorsport, and Set Promotion are very happy that he is doing a splendid job there. Just needs a budget, which is unfortunately the way it works in motor racing. It's not all about talent, but we know Tommy Horman, there are no questions on his talent. Ollikainen as well, who is very quick as a sim racer. Those two are top 5 in the world on Rallycross and iRacing. Ollikainen also looking to make his debut in Rally X Nordic this weekend.
And he shared on social media a spiffing photo of that set esports Fiesta. It looks like that's ready to rumble. We are ready to rumble for heat number 1. No inverts here. It's all about where you qualified, and merit gets you to the front. Tommy Holman, pole position, will lead us to the green flag with Johan Hart and Jarno Leskinen on the front row. Will Holman and Christian Raffos will be on row number 2 with Luke Kraus and Bobby Zelensky rounding out our 7-car field.
No inverted grids for this one. It's all based on what you earn. Willie Horman in his first event. Another Horman on the grid. Zelensky starting from the back. He's not putting in the practice for these ones, we know. Bobby Zelensky is one of the best sim racers in the world, certainly in any car. I don't want to just say ovals. He's very quick on the road. Very quick in Rallycross too. Let's see how we go here. First heat of the day.
Well, and we saw Chris Yandel. He'll be looking to see Zelensky, who drove for Subaru Motorsports in that last World Championship season, to maybe have a pretty good run here. So it's an all Beetle front row, and the Subaru's on row number 3. 5 laps of action. The sim racers ready to get their first competitive crack at the Charlotte Motor Speedway as we are underway for the 2021 iRX All-Star Invitational. It's 2 wide, about 3 deep, and there's contact there. I'm not sure exactly who got turned around. In towards the first corner we will go, though. Johan Hart swarms around Tommy Holman, and Holman might lose 1 more position to Jarno Leskinen as we fly our way down in through this double right-hand corner.
Great start between these drivers. Horman's got his work cut out for him, and Leskinen all over the rear end, and Willie Horman all over the rear end of Tommy as well. Haven't seen Hearth in a Beetle since his Rolling Turtle days over when he raced for Race Clutch all those years ago. And he heads into turn 5, leads the field away this time round. Johan Hearth, your world champion from 2020, ahead of Tommy Horman, looking to win the world championship in 2021.
Does anyone come down onto the Joker this time around? It looks like Leskinen will be the first and the only one committing to start lap number 2 then. Hearth from Holman as well with Zelensky Kraus, the top 5. See exactly where all of these drivers will cycle themselves out, but Hearth looking mighty comfortable as he makes that switch over. An interesting camera angle there, Johnny, here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yeah, certainly love the work Tyler Maxson and your iRacing crew behind the scenes are doing here, and from RaceSpot TV. Giving us some great sights of Rallycross on Charlotte as Johan Hearth will not take this Joker, I don't think, to the second to last lap or last lap of the event. No gaps yet for the rest of the field. Interesting that Leskinen took it so early down the back of the pack. So it was Christian Raffos early on in this race that was involved in an incident. Bobby Zelensky had to back out of it and didn't want to collect anyone. It's a 4-horse train here all the way from 4th to 7th. Only a top 2 advance anyway, but let's not forget, grid position very important for the rest of these drivers heading into your LCQs, because only 1 driver advances from that, and the further up the front you start, the more in you are with a shot of advancing to the feature.
And Johnny, I want to go back to something you had said right at the start of the show. You know, one of the newest tracks on the iRacing schedule also has some of the most dirt that we've seen across of all the different tracks which are available, as contact between Roffers and Zelensky as he just shoves his way on past, and that Subaru is bullied down in towards 6th position. What does that mean in terms of setting up the car, especially in through turn number 1 and 2, for example? Because what I'm noticing is the car gets itself turned in, and then the driver knows whether they're going to make the corner or not.
Well, you seem to know more of me as well. As I said, I don't drive Rallycross, just commentate it. And certainly something we'll discuss with the drivers more and more throughout the season. So it is their first event too. They can learn a lot, but you certainly want to set this car up to drive point to point. You don't want to be sliding in through the corners. As much as you see these drivers sliding right now, they do speak about trying to straight line as much of these corners as possible. It's the quickest way around Rallycross. It looks fun drifting, but it's not quick at all. Hearth to the he continues on, so Horman to the Joker. Willie Horman joins him. Have to do something different. I think Tommy Horman will be content with 2nd place. He'll have to start down the 2nd row of the grid. Johan Hearth should lead or win this heat for the final time round. Very entertaining start to the heat, but not much action from here on in afterwards.
So Hearth looks to be victorious to start off the sim racers portion. And like I said, it's Hearth versus Olakainen. Can they match each other with 2 victories, or can someone go that 1 step better? Or in our 26 car field, can someone else go even better? Hearth will be victorious as he comes down into this Joker lap. There's Holman on the left-hand side. Going to be close, but not close enough. Much closer than I thought it was going to be. Benchmark has been laid, though. Olakainen won't be in action until heat number 3. He'll be starting from the front row there, be hoping to take victory to line up in third. On the outside of the front row come our 10-lap feature as well. So Harth and Holman advance with Bill Holman. I should maybe specify which Holman is going to go to the feature, and the rest of the company going through into our last chance qualifiers. Here is the results of heat number 1 as we get set, Johnny, for heat number 2.
It's a very exciting Joker merge here. I love it at Charlotte. We'll talk a little bit more of that later on. You've got the two Robertson brothers starting first and second, 2.5 years apart for those two. John Robertson so close to a world championship. This is his time to gain some confidence back. Kevin Ellis Jr. makes it an all-Apex Racing team 1, 2, 3 to start this race. On the second row is Louis Lejeune, the Frenchman, starting alongside Lucas Cram. Dane Baird in his first event. He's been so excited for this one. Dane Baird, the Aussie. And he is ready to go from the back. Just managed to squeeze in and qualify himself. Says he's from UK and Ireland. He's a resident over there. But the Australian native ready to go from the back.
An Apex Racing team front row with the Academy car at the back as well. Apex guys had 4 of their entries into this event with 2 additional Academy cars making their way into the field. So the Apex Racing team gearing up for the iRX summer to be very, very strong. Here we go though, heat number 2. You'll notice Kevin Ellis Jr. is in that Subaru, unlike his teammates on his inside. The Robertson duo, they get a good launch, but Ellis holds the line as well, very wide, and 3 wide the teammates will go. On the outside line, Ellis with the momentum. It's Jake Robertson to the front of the field, though. Apex Racing Team 1, 2, and 3, all clean for the first time today, Johnny, in towards turn number 1.
That's a frustrating start for John Robertson in third. And now the door is open for Louis Lejeune up the inside. Although that driver up the inside heading into turn 2 has not ended up best off. That's what we've learnt today. So very clean start for Rallycross standards here, heading into turn 4 and 5 coming up. So the 3 Apex cars continue away. Robertson's going to do something different. Might as well take to the Joker or do something here as he's being held up by Kevin Ellis Jr. it seems. We know John Robertson's the quicker of the 3. And will he head to the Joker? No, he continues on. I think that was too much of a risky maneuver to take this early on.
The one thing we know is at least one of these Apex Racing cars will miss out on a direct trip into the feature. So it is looking like from pole position, John Robertson might be that one car on the outside looking in. Interesting to see the Subaru. Not necessarily sure it's the Subaru that's slow here because, of course, Kevin Ellis Jr., a very quick driver when it comes to the Porsche Tag or Esports Super Cup, but a newcomer to iRX. He's very comfortable, I will note, over the last couple of weeks, Johnny. Be interesting to see if Kevin Ellis makes a run at the qualifiers this summer.
Let's enjoy this. The sights and sounds of Rallycross through the first couple of corners here at Charlotte. And like you said, for John Robertson, he's finished on the podium a couple of times in his Rallycross All-Star Invitational campaign. Finished 4th in his worst result in round 2 at Barcelona. If he doesn't make the feature here in this heat, he will have to start towards the back in your consolation events. And it will be his worst qualifying performance so far. I'm talking about heat races. Heads to the Joker. I love the merge here on the exit. He's got to pound in some lap times. It's hammer time, Rallycross time.
So Robertson behind Lejeune, but in front, I think, crucially, of Dane Baird. So some track position to be able to work with here. It'll be the final lap the next time around. But Kevin Ellis Jr., will he respond to what his teammate has done behind him? They sling their way down in through this left-hand hairpin, and that's what I was saying earlier. They get the car turned in as there's the pressure. Robertson already passed Lejeune, interestingly, so the pace clearly there. The driver that finished 2nd place in last year's World Championship, but over-under almost attempted, almost contact there as well. Ellis Jr. to the Joker. Watch for the merge here. Always a source of great intrigue. Ellis very smoothly gets on through, but Robertson is going to come out just behind him. It's going to be neck and neck for that second step here in today's action.
Now, this race was won at turn 1, and Kevin Ellis Jr. has done a brilliant job to advance to the feature. and hopefully see him in the World Championship later on this year. You spoke about those pro qualifiers. If he's raced in these 4 All-Star Invitational events, he's probably making a run for the World Championship, you would assume. Robertson swipes the wall on the inside, just like his teammate Johan Harth did a few weeks ago at Atlanta. Johan Harth went on to take victory, though, as Jake Robertson will take heat victory. He's going to start towards the front. Well, will he, though? I say that. He's got the gap. Let's see the merge here. Ellis Jr. is in great position. Oh, my goodness, I spoke too soon. Kevin Ellis Jr. takes heat victory by only a 10th.
It was dramatic, and you were saying that those Joker exits and merges were very, very close. That's something to watch out for, because Ellis Jr. did not look like he had the pace in the early stages of the race, but sneaks his way to the front row of the grid. He'll start in the middle of 3 wide action. Jake Robertson, almost just 1/10 separates the 2 Apex Racing teammates. John Robertson will go to the last chance qualifiers along with Lucas Cram, Dane Baird, and Luis Lejeune. Heat 3 is about to get underway, and it's Joni Ollikainen that wants to respond to what he saw Johan Harth do in heat number 1. It will be Jacob Rafos and Marcos Matamoros on the front row, with Luke Fournier, Daniel McCauley on row number 2. Adam Alderton will be the final car in the 6-car field, taking us from the tail end of the field. And wow, Johnny, that Joker merge has got me very excited now for what the feature might look like.
Yeah, certainly. That was great strategy from Kevin Ellis Jr. Do the opposite to Jake. That's exactly what you need to do. I say great strategy, but it's fundamental. If you're not doing that, there's more to lose than there is to gain. As we're ready to go here for Heat 3 of the day. Good luck, Joni Ollikainen. He's very quick. Haven't seen him often in that VW.
Here we go as Adam Alderton takes to the grid as well. Heat number 3 ready to go. 6 cars with 2 spots on the line in that 10-lap feature. It's set esports 1 and 2, and it's a great launch from Rafos Ollikainen. Not such a great launch. Can he defend down the inside as the Subaru sends it deep? Bit of contact as Alderton bullies his way up into the top 3 positions, but it is Ollikainen that leads down into turn number 1.
Great scrap behind. Rest of the field searching to form up here. But the more they battle, the more they're going to allow the set cars up ahead to break away. Jacob Rafos, he's only been with set for just over a month. He's been driving very well for the team, looking to enter his first World Championship this year. Marcos Matamoros, couple of World Championship years of experience to his name in 3rd. The Spaniard being pounced here by Luc Fournier, the Frenchman. Fournier trying to find a way up the inside, and these 2 scrapping. Whoa, that's a very interesting decision. Fournier goes for the Joker on the first lap.
I think he recognized that already 1.2 seconds behind the set esports duo out front. He needs to do something to cycle into some cleaner air and just close the gap there. You can see Ollikainen and Rafos still running in single file order for now. 2 laps done out of 5. I wonder how early Rafos might try and go to just try and do something different to the teammate in front. I would suspect, Johnny, kind of building off what you were saying slightly earlier, it's do the opposite of what the car in front does. So coming to the final lap of the race, you'll see Rafos decide, based on what Ollikainen does, what he does with the Joker.
But you see, that's the problem for Fournier right now with strategy, is he's had to make his way through traffic, and so Matamoros is probably sitting there pleased, and Alderton makes his job easier by heading to the Joker. That opens the door here for Fournier, and so now it's time for Marcos Matamoros to monitor the gaps between he and Luc Fournier. Last time round across the start-finish line, it was 2.4 seconds. Matamoros is way too slow out there on the racetrack. Fournier's got some great pace. He's currently got the delta on Marcos Matamoros, but it's changing corner by corner, lap by lap. Matamoros has got to defend. He's got to head to the Joker this time round and block him out there on the racetrack.
That's Fournier slinging it through the dirt. What does Matamoros do in front? He's staying out there on track, at least for the time being. I think maybe what we're seeing, Johnny, is a bit of a shuffle just for track position, and now in that last chance qualifier, because the 2 set esports cars out front, they look comfortable, just 9-10 separating Ollikainen and Rafos.
So we know the 2 drivers who are going to advance, Ollikainen and Rafos. But this is still important for grid position, like we said, because 1 driver advances from your consolation races. Will it be Marcos Matamoros? Only made 1 feature in his rallycross career in the World Championship. He's never been the quickest out there, but he's consistently, to make the World Championship grid, think about it, you're a top 28 driver in the world. You have to be doing something right. As much as you might not be quick in the World Championship, the young 20-year-old from Spain, currently a university student in Sevilla. And loving life is Marcus, but at the moment, not loving the gap to Luc Fournier. It's right on the bubble. And I think Fournier's probably got him here, the Frenchman, despite having to make a pass out there on the racetrack.
The gap is still about 2.5 seconds, so we're coming to the final lap. It is still neck and neck, I think, for third. Out front, Ollikainen and Rafos, very, very comfortable. They look odds-on favorites to secure positions in the 10-lap feature. For Ollikainen, by the way, Johnny, I mean, he's now looking at more and more real-world activities as well. So great to see sim racing giving these drivers opportunities out there as well.
Yeah, well, it's his link to set promotion, so it's a little bit of sim racing. Let's watch the gap first of all. So Matamoros here, he is... I'm a bit confused there. Oh, he is behind. So Luc Fournier swipes third at the line. Matamoros in fourth. Ollikainen will win, like you said. So at the end of the day, Luc Fournier managed that perfectly as we head to the final heat of the day. But well done to Ollikainen. We'll speak about that a little later on. He's done a brilliant job. Set promotion, supporting him in his campaign for a drive in motorsport. Same for Tommy Horman. Same for a lot of them. Maybe a future for Jacob Rafos as well, the young Scandinavian. So there are the results. Top two advance. Everybody else to the feature. Grid for Heat 4. Kilian Del Olmo will start up ahead. He's very quick in rallycross cars. His brother's also in this heat as well. Former World Championship race winner Garrett Lowe will start from third. Michael Romanidis in his first event, also on the front row. Hey, welcome back, Sindre Silva. He starts on the second row. Garrett Maines down the back of the pack as well, also in this heat. We've got a few Subarus, a few VW Beetles as well, a couple Garretts, a couple Del Olmos. We've got duos and brothers and similar namesakes. We've got one more heat to go.
And Romanidis is that Williams esports driver that I had mentioned slightly earlier. So great to see a driver with experience, not just in rallycross here. I saw him in the fixed Indy 500 during the month of May and other simulators as well here in the rallycross scene as well. Engines rev as the lights illuminate here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway for the final heat race. 5 laps and 2 spots left in our 10-lap feature event. Del Olmo and Romanidis side by side in the drag race down into turn number 1. Look at that Fiesta sending it 3 wide. Oh, that was a wonderful move. What a move that was done. And in towards turn number 1. Wonderful action here, Johnny, to get started once more.
But it's still Kilian Del Olmo who leads. There's some contact down the back of the pack. Sindre Silva involved in his Fox Gaming Subaru. Who else was involved in that one? I think Quinton Del Olmo and Garrett Maines as well in his Smithfield Subaru. And so they all continue away. The front 3, it's Del Olmo from Romanidis, from Garrett Lowe in third.
And it was Lowe who made that rocket launch, and I got a bit confused because I read the numbers upside down there. So the 06 of Garrett Lowe, as always, in that Fiesta. Let's go ahead and straight away take a look at the start here, and it was Del Olmo that just leaning on that other car, that's Sindre Silva, and all sorts of chaos down in towards turn number 1, Johnny.
They need to bring that little underline on the top of the car for you, like they do in Uno. You know, when you see a little, you see the 6, it's underlined, so you know which one's which. It's the 06 of Garrett Lowe. He's made that very famous over the years.
And what a start that was as well. Maybe our producer Tyler Maxon, very quick on the replay to get us the start, can get us that initial launch as well from the Ford. In the lead, though, Del Olmo is not too comfortable because Romanidis, the first time we've seen him in rallycross action, is doing very, very well to hold on to that second and final transfer spot. There goes the Fiesta down into the Joker, but he follows the Beetle down in front, Johnny.
Very interesting. That leaves Kilian Del Olmo as a sitting duck. Going to have to win this race on pace now is Del Olmo. Garrett Lowe, oh, that's very deep. And I think he swiped the wall on the exit. Leave him vulnerable right now to Garrett Maines, who's yet to take the Joker. Will Garrett Maines go for some TV time or let his fellow Garrett up ahead battle for a transfer position into the feature? I think it's all set and done for Garrett Lowe. He's not in good position to advance. All eyes are on the gap between Del Olmo and Romanidis. And right now, yeah, go on.
No, I was going to say, Johnny, that gap's up to 4 seconds. So not sure if they got the best run through the Joker the last time around.
No, certainly didn't. And Del Olmo, it was 4 seconds because Del Olmo took to the Joker. That can jumble up the timing screen. But it looks like 4 seconds out there on the racetrack right now. The official gap about, it's dwindling down. It's a relative live timing screen right there. 1.5 seconds. Del Olmo's got his job done. He should start from the second row in the feature.
Well, that's the live calculation updates there. So the 2-second gap that I thought we were going to see when Delomo came down onto the Joker does indeed present itself out there on the track. So interesting to see that Delomo, once he got released from the pressure behind, is straight away increased the pace, set the afterburners to maximum, and built up his gap out front. What can the Williams Esports driver do now, though, Johnny? Because we saw Krogstad very comfortable in that pro racers portion of this race. Romanides will be hoping to carry that form over as we get the final laps here today.
Catch a glimpse of his driving style as well. Michael Romanides. His teammate, Sami Matty Trogan, was supposed to race today as well. Unfortunately, fell short of some technical troubles and some other issues and wasn't able to race at the last minute. Weren't able to see our 2019 world champion of Rallycross racing here. Haven't seen Mitchell de Jong all series. Hopefully he'll be back for Rallycross in the World Championship later on. Very surprised he's only got one World Championship to his name. We know what happened in 2019. Should have won that one. But ended up missing a couple of rounds. 2020, a lot of bad luck. Delomo wins though. Romanides, well done to him. He advances to the feature in his first All-Star Invitational.
And for Sami Matty Trogan, he'll be in action this coming weekend in the 24 Hours of Nürburgring alongside the Walkenhorst Motorsports team. We wish him the best of luck and we'll be cheering him on as well. So the heat races have come to a close. And now we get ready for those last chance qualifiers. Delomo wins by 2.1 seconds over iRX newcomer Michael Romanides. Garrett Lowe, Quinton Delomo, Garrett Maines, and Sindre Silva, heading to that last chance qualifier. Let's bring up the grid then for the first of them. It'll be Vil Holman, Luke Fournier, and Jarno Leskinen on the front row, with Marcos Matamoros and Christian Rafos on the row number 2. Adam Alderton had a very good launch in his heat race. What can he do once more from inside of row number 3? Well, he'll have Luke Kraus and Daniel McCauley for company. So 8 cars ready to go. And Johnny, unlike what we saw with the pro drivers, because we've had 4 heat races, just one of these drivers gets in to that 10-lap feature.
Yep, certainly. Green light's about to go here. Drivers about to be told to look at the lights, and they will race for what 7 of these drivers will be the final time today at Charlotte.
So here we go, still waiting for the time to roll down. Here we go. The final opportunity for some of these cars to compete in the iRX All-Star Invitational for 2021. There's a jump start from Matamoros, I would have to think. Excuse me, that's Fournier with the jump start. And, well, he's going to have to, I guess, bring that car down onto pit road and retire from the race. Wonderful launch around the outside, though, for Leskinen. Contact's made, and in through the first corner, it's going to be Matamoros that takes full advantage of the situation, Johnny, to lead lap number 1.
That's a ridiculous start to this one. So you've got Fournier, who leads this race. He'll be disqualified later on for that false start. That was by a country mile. Almost reminds you of this race I saw in V8 Utes a few back at Phillip Island. My mate Chad Nalon commentated on that one. Driver false started the race by, I think, 10 seconds and ended up being, I think it had a drive-through penalty, which was a very minor penalty for that one. Fournier will be out of this one. He'll receive a penalty. And so that means the lead is currently with, you have to say, I'm just looking at my timing screen. Bit confused right now. I think it's Billy Horman, but I don't think it's updated officially.
No, I think it's Marcos Matamoros. There were a couple of cars, I think Luke Kraus included, as Holman, that had to cycle their way down onto the pit road. So Fournier is classified as the leader, but is not going to finish there once we get these 5 laps done and dusted. The gap between Matamoros and Alderton is already up to about 1.3 seconds as Daniel McCauley, the only car to take to the Joker so far in this race. Battle for second is really the battle for the lead, and you will see, Johnny, the gaps really between these 4 cars have started to extend.
Yeah, certainly. That was, well, we can forget about the start of this one. So Matamoros hopefully will advance to the feature. He's had some good pace. That's unfortunate for Luke Fournier, who did all that work to get ahead of Matamoros. Some of these drivers gamble at the starts. I know Connor Parisi certainly does. He loves his starts. He reckons it's his best chance. And so we saw him false start at Brands Hatch, Connor Parisi. But I think it's more, you're more likely to get that wrong than you are correct by guessing the lights. It's very random. And you might as well just rely on your pace and try and work on that. But for Fournier, that was ridiculous. Either his hand slipped or something went on. I don't want to speculate because most of the time you're wrong when you do. But this would be great for the Spaniard of Matamoros. who raced for Burton Kligerman Esports in the World Championship last year, looking to make another run for the World Championship for his 3rd year in a row in 2021.
And still driving the E-Racer Beetle for the Burton Kligerman Esports team as well. This is further back in your pack, Holman and Christian Rafos. None of these cars really in contention here, as Alderton, I think, took to the Joker that last time around, so the gap between him and Matamoros has ballooned up, at least for the time being. We'll see the next time around if Matamoros responds. Talking about the start here, Johnny, we start on that main straightaway where there is no dirt of any kind, and we've seen a couple of drivers really hook up their launches. There must be something they're doing very well, and drivers clearly are going to have to practice that as we head into the World Championship season.
Yeah, certainly. Starts here can gain you a lot of time. Billy Horman just being right behind Adam Alderton. Christian Rafos finds his way through. That forces Billy Horman to the very unique Joker here at Charlotte. And so this is a battle for nothing because, like we said, Fournier, well, it says he's going to advance. Excuse me, I got confused by the timing screen. Marcus Matamoros will advance because Fournier will have a plus 30-second penalty. But like you said, the starts here are oh so important. Fournier, though, it doesn't matter what you do to set up the car at the starts. False starting by about 5 hours there, possibly 5 hours and 3 minutes, will probably hand you a penalty.
And I guess the saying that to finish first you must finish doesn't really apply when you take a penalty like that. So Fournier will take the checkered flag as Matamoros is down onto the Joker this time around, watching Alderton for the merge as well. I don't think he's going to be close enough, so it is the E-Racer Beetle that will make his way into the 10-lap feature, and for Marcos Matamoros, he will be pretty excited about that one and the summer of iRX that I'm sure he is prepping himself for as well. 7 drivers we say goodbye to then, as Luc Fournier does get that post-race penalty on my timing screen. 2 seconds the gap between Matamoros and Alderton. Rafos finishes the podium position. It was very close between the 27 and the 3. Daniel McCauley in the Subaru comes home in 4th, with Vil Horman, Luc Fournier, Jarno Leskinen, and Luke Kraus all heading home here in the 2021 iRX All-Star Invitational. The second of the last chance qualifiers is ready to go. And guess who's on pole position here, Johnny? It's John Robertson.
It's a cosmopolitan field. You've got drivers from all over the world. And that's the brilliant part about virtual racing. Despite a pandemic, don't need to worry about travel costs, none of that stuff. Look at the rest of the grid on screen and pick your favorite driver and root for them for this final consolation race of the day. 5 laps of action coming up. A Joker for the drivers too. 1 driver will advance. John Robertson in position, but it's all about the starts here at Charlotte. That's what we've learned because overtaking has proved very difficult.
9 cars are ready to go. This one is going to be elbows out, and for John Robertson, second place in the World Championship just a couple of months, does not want to go home with his teammates in that 10-lap feature. This will be the most important start of the 4 races he's done so far in 2021, and he does get a good launch, but it's going to be side by side as we work our way into the corner. There's contact with the Subaru. It's chaos in through turn number 1, and it's the Smithfield Subaru of Garrett Maines who finds his way through the carnage and into the race lead. Louis Lejeune in second position, and Dane Baird in the Apex Racing Academy car is looking to try and hold on to 3rd place for now.
Well, there was an incident between Garrett Maines and Quinton Del Olmo at the start of that race. Those 2 collided. The rest of the field were involved and were innocent victims in that collision. And so will the stewards want to look at that one? It is very, very difficult to call. I don't know if they'll look at it live or look at it afterwards. It's the final All-Star Invitational, but we've got to move on now. No one to take to the Joker this time around, possibly. Everybody's scrapping it out on track as they head to the final couple of corners for the first time. 1 driver to transfer. Garrett Maines in perfect position. Driver into the wall in the background. That's Quinton Del Olmo. Oh my goodness, Flight 07 has just landed.
And more frequent flyer miles here in the iRX All-Star Invitational for some of the drivers. Del Olmo then will be done for today's action. He'll be looking at the World Championship coming up and the qualifiers as well. We're watching Bobby Zelensky in those famous blue and gold Subaru colors right behind Sindre Silva in the Fox Gaming Subaru. With Dane Baird trying to hold on to that 3rd and final step on the podium. There was some incredible pressure being applied by the duo of Silva and Zelensky, but it has enabled a couple of these cars to build up the gap. There goes, I believe that's Garrett Maines down onto the Joker, and Sindre Silva follows him down. Here we go, down in across the start-finish line. Maines blinks then, Johnny, quite early on.
Yeah, certainly. So interesting strategies coming out. Louis Lejeune, very quick. Love saying his name, the Frenchman. I love a person with a good name that rolls off the tongue. Obviously, he's a commentator. Dane Baird doing well as in the second position. Got some good TV time for him as well in his first All-Star Invitational. There's the American of Zelensky, yet to win a race in Rallycross in the World Championship or All-Star Invitational. He's had a number of podiums to his name. He's just been collected behind by the driver of Garrett Lowe, who's going to readdress that position. Not going to matter anyway, because both of them are going to be out. Bobby, though, has returned serve in the background. Anyway, back to the race lead. Where's Garrett Maines going to feed out here? He should feed... Now, is he behind Louis Lejeune? He is. Louis Lejeune has passed Garrett Maines.
And the gap is 9/10 of a second as well, so Lejeune has found some sort of speed, or maybe Maines has just dropped off the pace. Dane Baird does lead, but he owes us a Joker lap, and with the gap 1.5 seconds back to Lejeune in second, he's not going to hold on here, so it's Lejeune versus Maines. And don't forget Sindre Silva lurking in the background there, ready to pounce if there is anything that's going to happen here. For Louis Lejeune, Johnny, I'm very impressed to see that pace, because he found the opportunity, nailed his perfect lap, and found that perfect time to come down onto the Joker.
Well done, Louis Lejeune. It's not over yet. Let's look at the gap between Dane Baird and Louis Lejeune. It was 1.9 across the line, now 1.2 as the relative time updates. I think Lejeune's got him covered for sure, but we've said this all day. That Joker lap, I think the Joker lap, there's a lot of skill involved in this one too. It's a very big braking zone, and so drivers can muck it up under pressure. We saw this at Barcelona too, with some drivers muck up some issues there. John Robertson out. Delormo out as well. They're not involved. Garrett Lowe out. Zelensky not in contention. All your big names not out in this one. It's the new faces that are contending for a transfer position. Final time round. Baird on the exit. Will he have the gap on Lejeune? It'll be a drag race across the line. Lejeune sails past and takes that one transfer position to the feature.
It was close for Dane Baird. I'm sure he'll still be thrilled with all the TV time that he's got here today. Settles for second and will be going home in the 2021 All-Star Invitational presented by Yokohama. For John Robertson, well, heartbreak and disappointment. He would have been hoping to join his teammates in that 10-lap feature. He's going home and watching from the sidelines. Lejeune advances. There are the rest of the drivers going home. Johnny, what an interesting race. And once more, carnage down into turn number one. It either goes one of two ways. Very clean, very tidy for the entire race, or absolute chaos, absolute carnage. That's what I'm expecting for 10 laps here now.
Yeah, first of all, congrats to Louis Lejeune. First feature of his Rallycross career in an All-Star Invitational or World Championship. He's never raced in a World Championship, so that was a bit silly to say. But anyway, he makes it through the Frenchman. Well done to him. He'll start towards the back. And like you said, the starts here have been carnage. Starting from the back may be graceful for him. Now, at the front of these races, we saw Garrett Maines up the inside of Quinton Delormo. Now, whether or not you want to argue there's a B-pillar rule or something in there is a conversation for another day, or whether or not you should have thought maybe Garrett Maines should have backed out. But at the end of the day, Garrett Maines made it through to the lead and drove splendidly afterwards. Just unfortunate he didn't have the pace to hold off Louis Lejeune towards the back.
Well, Henrik Krogstad took victory for the pro races just an hour ago, starting from the back. Warm-up is underway. 10 laps left to go here in the 2021 iRX All-Star Invitational presented by Yokohama. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after these messages from our partners.
Today's new cars have upwards of 100 computers in them, and a dashboard rivaled only by a commercial airliner. But wouldn't it be nice to really know what all that does for you? At Roadshow, we demystify the world of modern transportation with reviews of your next car, the latest news on what's changing the industry, and videos covering every screen and every new feature you'll encounter in the driver's seat. Get informed, get smart, and get going with Roadshow.
10 more laps of action in the 2021 iRX All-Star Invitational presented by Yokohama. There's one thing that separates first place from the rest of the pack: the finish line. High-performance, race-inspired Yokohama Advan tires give you the drive to win. Discover Advan at yokohamatire.com. The NASCAR next-gen cars are here, and you can try them today on iRacing. Now's the time to get into the action with the future of NASCAR, iRacing Rallycross, or any other form of racing you can imagine. New memberships are 40% off. Sign up now at iRacing.com/membership to get started. Welcome back to RaceSpot TV and iRacing Live. It's been a roller coaster of a ride so far, and 10 more laps here to round off this All-Star Invitational Series. My name is Arjuna Kankipati, alongside is Jonathan Simon, with Tyler Maxon in the production booth controlling all of the action. And Johnny, it's been the Johan Hart and Joni Ollikainen show so far. 2 wins to Hart, 1 to Ollikainen. The question I really have with both of those drivers starting on the front row, are they going to sweep the season amongst the two of them, or can anyone stop them in this 10-car field?
We'll wait and see. Kevin Ellis Jr.'s looked quick, managed to find some good pace during the races, and despite overtaking being very difficult, if Kevin Ellis Jr. can find his way into second, will he be able to jump Johan Hart through the Joker strategy? That's what we'll look out for in the race. Although it's 10 laps this time around, we know that if you leave Johan Hart or Ollikainen on their own on the racetrack, they can lap away with style. Now, what we saw at Atlanta a few weeks ago was one of the most cracking scraps for victory between Hart and Ollikainen. This time you've got Ellis Jr. in the way, Delorme, don't forget Horman starting from the second row, and let's not forget some new names down the back of the pack. Louis Lejeune in his first feature race, Michael Romanidis, the driver from Greece, starting in 8th as well. You've got young guns in Jake Robertson and Jacob Rafos. They're not even 18 years of age. Oh, we've got a great scrap coming up for race victory in this feature.
And it's the final time these cars will be in action before the World Championship season really kicks off. More details about the iRacing World Championship qualifiers are coming soon, but what we can talk about now, a standalone qualifying series for the very first time that will run in the same time slot as the World Championship will run later this year. 10 drivers are already locked in, and your chance starts this summer. With that said, though, All-Star Invitational action comes to a close here today. Let's go trackside for the final time this season to take a look at our starting grid today. So the Frenchman, Johan Hart, the iRacing Rallycross champion, will take us to the green flag alongside his teammate Kevin Ellis Jr. and his rival, Joni Ollikainen. Killian Delorme will line up inside of Tommy Horman on row number 2, with Jake Robertson, Jacob Rafos, and Michael Romanidis on row number 3. Final row of this grid, and it's Marcos Matamoros and Luis Lejeune, the 2 cars making their way in through these last chance qualifiers. And Johnny, 10 cars, you said it just before we went to that break, you might want to be on the final row of this grid.
Yeah, just to play it safe, get onto the brakes if anything goes wrong. We've learned the inside is where the gaps open. Because of the nature here of the fast left-hander, a lot of the accidents tend to sweep out to the outside, much like an oval from time to time. And if you're Louis Lejeune starting from the back, you want to sweep up the inside of Matamoros possibly, who's in great position. About to go here, 10 laps of action, 1 Joker for the final time this series.
The first time we get to see these drivers take to this track competitively. It's going to be on the World Championship schedule. We cannot wait to get underway with that. But first, 10 more laps of action. As the lights illuminate, the cars squat down. We are underway for the final round of the iRX All-Star Invitational presented by Yokohama. It's an Apex Racing Team 1 and 2 as Kevin Ellis Jr. will defend from Joni Ollikainen, helping out his teammate Johan Hart. There's almost contact, I believe, with Romanidis and Robertson in the background as they fly their way down into turn number 1. Single file. It's Apex Racing Team 1 and 2 with Set Esports 3, 4, and 5.
A very professional start, well suited by your field, and still fights going on throughout the field as well. Heading into turn 4 and turn 5 coming up here. Drivers still have yet to form up. A lot of set cars, a lot of Apex cars as well, and a lot of the rest filling in the rest of the field. So Hart still leads the field away. Look at this as well. They still yet to form up towards the end of the lap here at Charlotte.
And all 10 cars still out there pointing in the right direction as we come through the penultimate couple of corners to complete lap number 1. Johan Hart leads by 1.2 seconds from Joni Ollikainen because Kevin Ellis Jr. got bullied out of the way over the jump, and Killian Del Olmo said, "Thank you very much, I'll take that third and final podium position away from you for now as well." The Frenchman looking mighty comfortable as he throws himself down into this left-hand hairpin as well. Del Olmo looking a bit more racy than Ollikainen right now, I'd say, Johnny.
Yep, certainly looking like that as well. Love this scrap between these two. Is this what we're going to catch in the World Championship in 2021 later this year? One world champion against one driver who could potentially be a future world championship. We ride on board with the Finn. And a couple of drivers behind to the Joker. That crown will light up on your timing and scoring screen. Jacob Rafos down the back of the pack has taken the Joker as well. And he'll file down the order. There's that crown lighting up. You got traffic with Matamoros though in front, and you spoke about Ellis Jr. at the start. Boy, was he abused out of the way and out of the podium positions.
But full credit to, all of the drivers, Johnny. They made it work, and for someone with relatively less experience in rallycross like Kevin Ellis Jr., I think he'll be pretty delighted to still be able to hold on where he is, because for the time being, Tommy Holman is applying all sorts of pressure to his rear end. Any of these cars coming down into the Joker this time around? Yes, Kevin Ellis goes, as there you can see Matamoros has to let on past Jacob Rafos. Two different cars on different Joker strategies. Where does Ellis Jr. feed out? Right in front of the 13-year-old Jacob Rafos. Great to see two very new faces in this iRX community, Johnny, doing well in this All-Star Invitational.
Impressing some potential future team bosses, people looking to scout some more talent, but I think most of the drivers in this field have pretty much signed deals and settled with their teams for at least the next 12 months, or 6 to 12 months at a minimum. And Matamoros, great to see him in a feature, although he's at the back now after all the Jokers. He's been outdone by some Joker strategies. He made some overtakes. This is the battle for the lead, and Ollikainen to the Joker. Oh, he did this at Atlanta, caught us by surprise with such an uncanny Joker strategy. And now where will he feed out in comparison to Frenchman Johan Hart when it's all said and done at the end of these 10 laps?
He's only about 8/10 clear of Kevin Ellis, which gets me a little bit worried, but we've seen overcuts, we've seen undercuts work. It's all about just how you can find the optimal line, especially through the increased dirt percentage that you have at this track compared to some of the others on the iRacing Rallycross agenda. 7/10 the gap then between Hart and Del Olmo. Getting closer and closer throughout the entire field. Just 3 cars left to go, Johnny, and if you are a Johan Hart, he comes this time around to respond to Ollikainen. Let's watch for the merge here as the Frenchman and the Rallycross World Champion is going to slot out right behind Joni Ollikainen. Ollikainen to the net race lead.
Goodness gracious, what a strategy. And that's why Johan Hart took to the Joker. And he swiped the wall as well, just like Atlanta a couple of races ago. Ellis Jr. behind, trying to stay out of the way of his World Championship teammate. And Hart now has got to make a pass on the racetrack for victory. And so they will potentially split the wins between the two. Kevin Ellis Jr. is trying to go around the outside in this Subi. He doesn't have track position. Hart fights back. These two teammates squabbling have gifted Ollikainen a potential victory.
He's still got his 2 teammates in front of him, Killian Del Olmo and Tommy Holman, yet to come down into that Joker though, and you can see the gap between Del Olmo and Ollikainen in the 44. Oh, as Kevin Ellis Jr. clobbers the inside wall in through turn number 1.
And look at the lead. Sorry, Arjuna, look at the lead as well. Del Olmo is into the wall, and that's race done. Del Olmo's out of contention. He's made a mistake. Holman's made his way through into the effective lead, although he hasn't taken the Joker. What a mistake, what a squabble. Just as you mentioned, Kevin Ellis Jr. swiping the barrier. Del Olmo makes a similar error himself.
And well, that gap between Holman and Ollikainen is 1.5, so it's looking like Ollikainen might respond back. And, well, we've got those World Championship qualifiers coming up, Johnny. The summer of iRX, as I'm deeming it now, is about to kick off. I cannot wait, because it's not just these World Championship battles at the top, the likes of Hart and Ollikainen. There are so many different faces that will come into the mix. You think of some of the guys last year that didn't even necessarily make it into too many of the feature events. They may be back this year with a vengeance trying to qualify for the World Championship.
Yeah, and it was very entertaining, the World Championships the past few years. And man, today has been great as we watch a replay here. So this is between the set. Oh, is this the Apex cars or set cars? Can't see it. That's the I can't even see my TV screen is so small on that replay screen. I think that was the Apex cars there, Arjuna.
I think that was Michael Romanidis getting together
Romanidis,
with Jake Robertson. Not exactly sure what happened there, but I guess several separate incidents. I think Kevin Ellis Jr. down the timing screen is not going to close off this season. You can see left-hand side, he dropping down the order as well, and back on the track with just 2 laps to go.
Yeah, so more issues there going on. Apologies for that. I had my replay screen so small I couldn't even pick apart which blue car that was. I thought it was the Subi of Ellis Jr. for a second. But anyway, so there's more scraps going on throughout the field. So I did see Ellis Jr. make an error, and that's why I got confused. There it is. That was straight after the replay. And he's been everywhere this race. This race today, Rallycross has really been more like the Worldwide Wrestling Federation as we continue on the final lap. But I'll tell you what, that's one thing I enjoy about Rallycross. The racing on track's good, but the drama on track is equally as exciting.
It's wonderful, and I mean, I cannot wait for this World Championship to get back underway. I mean, 3 different World Champions in 3 different years. Mitchell de Jong the first year, Sammy Matty Trogan 24 months ago, and then Johan Haas just a couple of months ago in 2020 becoming a world champion as well. Tommy Holman down onto the jerker, and we'll watch for the merge. Can Ollikainen pip his teammate and match Johan Haas? Yes, he does. Joni Ollikainen to victory lane here in the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Johan Haas versus Joni Ollikainen. Put it on the books. That is what we'll be watching out for in our 2021 iRacing Rallycross World Championship. What a fun ride this iRX All-Star Invitational presented by Yokohama has been, Johnny, and, well, the summer of iRX is well and truly underway.
What a race. You've got 2 drivers who are also taking their talents to motorsport, racing in Rally X Nordic, and they continue away to the paddock. They're going to give us some burnouts in the background. How about that? Set promotion 1-2. They dispose of Johan Haas in the Apex cars. What a victory for those two as Haas rounds out the podium. He scores another podium to his name, Johan Haas. He missed out at round 2 when Ollikainen last won, able to slot himself back on for this one as well. Rest of the order on screen. Rafos 4th. Great result for Jacob Rafos. His career best. How about that? He's getting quicker week to week, Arjuna, in that set promotion VW.
So young as well. The ceiling really is sky high for so many of these drivers. Interesting to note as well, fastest lap was set by Joni Ollikainen on the final lap of the race. So who knows if that speed that he found was able to get him to victory lane. The celebrations are ongoing here in the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Joni Ollikainen and Tommy Holman have found a very nice place to go and do some donuts, not actually on the track surface. I cannot wait to get into our post-race show and talk to these drivers as well. The World Championship is the next thing on our agenda, Johnny, and well, based on what we've seen over these last 4 races, it's going to be even more exciting in 2021.
We hope so. We hope so. We're doing a good job hyping it up, and so there's a lot of pressure on these drivers now, but it's always been exciting. I think the pressure's off. Every year of Rallycross, I've enjoyed it since the inaugural race back 2018 at Daytona, as we watch the set car of Joni Ollikainen celebrate his 2nd victory with teammate Tommy Holman. Those two are good friends as well, and they continue on racing and impressing the 2 young Finns as they continue on in this World Championship, showing us that they are a force to be reckoned with. We've only got to take these results with a grain of salt, though. Yes, your usual front runners finish towards the front, but it's going to be a totally different picture in the World Championship when drivers are committed, testing week in, week out. The pressure's on as well. The return of potentially Mitchell de Jong to the World Championship too. Bobby Zielinski, who actually puts in some practice, will be up there as well. And the Delormeau brothers have certainly got quicker week to week too. Oh man, I'm looking forward to it. Going to speak to your top 3 in a few moments' time. And Joni Ollikainen, well done to him. He's been so impressive and certainly a World Championship favorite later on this year.
Well, the reason why we were trying to hype up the World Championship so much, Johnny, is we're waiting for that opportunity to bring in the podium position finishers here and get to talk to them before we wrap up for this season as well. I think we've got all of those drivers in, so I tell you what, let's bring in your race winner straight away. And Jonathan Simon, take it away with Joni Ollikainen.
Oh, Joni, congratulations again, man. That was a well-fought-out victory. Last week at Atlanta, or last round, I should say, you and Johan had a great battle out there on the racetrack. Today, man, you caught us by surprise with that Joker strategy. You were so confident. You had the pace. Oh, man, what can you say? Well done.
Yeah, it was a quite hectic race, but Yeah, we had a really good pace, especially in worn conditions of track. So yeah, we were quite confident about the pace in final. So we went for aggressive choker tactic, and yeah, it worked out. So feels good.
Oh, it certainly does, man. I feel good watching that one. I wasn't expecting you to overtake him, and I was wondering why. As soon as Johan headed to the Joker, I said, "Oh, he's probably watching the gaps, right?" Man, your car was quick on the worn track. But talk about practice for these All-Star Invitationals, because we don't want to take these results as a sign of, "Oh, Joni Ollikainen's going to win the World Championship now," and all this stuff. But has the practice been in there for you? Is this what we're going to expect in the World Championship? A few more race victories to your name?
Yeah, hopefully, but yeah, to speak about the practice for these races, it's been more like doing like fun races in practice, so not so serious like in World Championship, but yeah, we have done like maybe 3 or 4 hours practice for all the races, so we have been quite prepared, but not like in World Championship.
Oh, awesome, man. And finally, can we talk about your motorsport career at the moment? Did some testing last weekend. You're about to potentially make your debut in Rally X Nordic this weekend if everything goes right. Talk about that for a little bit for us.
Yeah, I'm making my debut in Supercar Lights class in Rally X Nordic series this weekend in my home track in Oulutsone. So yeah, I can't wait to get racing, and I had a test day on Sunday and it went quite well, I think. Feeling was good in the car, and yeah, but we will see how the pace is when we get to race on Saturday, but yeah, I can't wait for it.
Yeah, certainly, man. We'll leave you to it. Good luck this weekend. Your teammate in Tommy Horman standing alongside us as well. Tommy, we were just talking to Joni about his potential Rally X Nordic debut this weekend. You're currently leading the light standings in that one.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. It's a quite nice feeling to come to the home event as a points leader. So really looking forward.
Let's talk about iRacing today. A brilliant race from you. Starting from the second row, you managed to finish second. The pace for the set cars was very good on a worn track, it seemed.
Yeah, for me, it's always been better on worn track. I like when the car is moving a bit, unpredictably. And yeah, I really like to drive on the worn track. So I was actually a bit surprised to be fastest on the qualifying. But yeah, it was really nice to be back on pace after a couple of bit more tricky races in the All-Star Series. So I'm really happy with the result, and the pace in the final was also good. But yeah, I was a bit stuck in the traffic and had to just wait that someone makes a mistake or takes choker. So in the end, I think second place is very good.
Yeah, I certainly think so too. That was a brilliant race from you. Any improvements for next time out? What did you learn from Charlotte? What we learned was at the starts, if you're up the inside, you're in with a good chance of making up some positions.
Yeah, I think the turn one from the start is quite tricky with the pole line. It's so tight the first corner. So if someone from the second place gets a good start, I think it's really hard to defend from the pole. So that's a good thing to remember, and we have to try to find something tricks for that place. And also I think it was nice to see the VWs on pace here. So usually it's been so much about Subarus on every track. So yeah, I think it was good show that also the VW can be fast.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, there's a lot of arguments about that as well. One quick story before we let you go. Last year, you told me you drove, 8 hours to get a new simulator for yourself before the World Championship? You're not going to do that again this year before the World Championship, are you?
No, I already did it a couple of weeks ago. So at the at the same time when I got the Supercar Lights car from Set Promotion, so I already did that, and also did half a day of testing at the same day. So it was like 13-hour day. So yeah, and it was just a couple of days before we left to Denmark for the Rally X Nordic Round 1. So it was quite a mess. But yeah, I got the simulator now, so more relaxed time before the World Championship now.
Yeah, no, I hope so. You are crazily committed to racing. You're one talent yourself, man. Yeah, good luck, man. Joyner, actually, you got one question for him, don't you?
No, actually, I want to bring in Johan Hart and keep this post-show moving so we can talk to the iRacing Rallycross World Champion and figure out what happened there, Johan. It was an interesting race, and that Joker call, that was really the pivotal moment. Did you think that you were going to be able to get along side by side, or did you think Joni Ollikainen was really going to have you already there?
Well, when I took the decision, I was looking at my F3 box and I was almost shy at the gap, but for some reason, down the Joker.
Well, as always with you, Johan, sometimes I think just very to the point. Talk to us about what the summer looks like now for you as well, because don't necessarily think you've been putting in the most amount of effort and practice for this, but obviously with the World Championship coming up, the summer of iRX, as I'm calling it, with the World Championship qualifiers will kick off very shortly. What's it like for you as you come back into this year trying to defend the title rather than trying to attack the championship like you were 12 months ago?
Well, still good practice for the World Championship, so we're still putting in quite a few hours for those races. So yeah, really looking forward to the World Championship. It was good prep. We had pretty good results as well. 2 wins, 1 P3 there. Just Barcelona that didn't really go as planned. So it's T1, but yeah, that was really good prep, and I'm pretty sure we'll be up there again.
Yeah, and I got a bit of a question, I think, about these new tracks that we've got. We've got 3 new tracks, right? Barcelona, Catalunya, Brands Hatch, as well as this one at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's great to be thinking about this World Championship, and a World Championship where each of the rounds will have a unique racetrack. No repeat visits this time around. Which one of the 3 is your favorite, and which one do you think will produce the best racing when we return there for the World Championship season?
Oh, they're all quite interesting in different ways. Barcelona, really technical track. Brands Hatch, I liked it because we had really high speeds, lots of really flowing corners, and yeah, Charlotte, not so much a fan of it. I think there is a bit too many walls on the track. It's causing quite a few incidents, so yeah. Not really a huge fan of it, but
Johan Hart scared of walls. I think that's the headline I'm going to take away from this interview.
Yeah. Definitely.
Looking forward to seeing you back in action this coming weekend on the open wheel side of things, Johan. I know the month of May was very busy for you. We'll look forward to seeing you then back in action and defending your World Championship later this year.
Yeah, thanks, Arjuna.
So that is our post-race interviews done and dusted. The Frenchman Johan Hart, as always, straight to the point and keeping things nice and sweet as well. Johnny, wow, the past 4 rounds have really rocketed on past, and really, it's a bit scary to say goodbye now, but I'm looking forward to the iRX Pro qualifiers, which are coming up this coming summer before we get to the iRX Pro Series.
Certainly are. What an enjoyable All-Star Invitational, and I can't wait for those qualifiers. We're going to see some new talent, potentially. We're going to see some old faces that return at the same time. Oh my goodness gracious. Charlotte was awesome, and all these new tracks we've had 3 new ones. We've had Atlanta for the sim races as well. Oh man, I mean, if you didn't enjoy that one, you are not going to enjoy the World Championship later on. And you know what? We've got the best of the best racing. Arjuna, we figured out the Finns have been very impressive today from Set Promotion. Mitchell de Jong will return hopefully too, like we said. Can't wait for it. World Championship later on in 2021.
What a season it's been, and we can't wait to do this all over again later this year when the intensity rises and the iRacing Rallycross Pro Series returns. Before we go, plenty more action in the next few days on iRacing Live to come. Tomorrow, the Cars and Stars in the eNASCAR Pro Invitational Series head to the streets of Chicago to test out a brand new laser scan configuration on the streets of Chicago. With the next-gen machinery, you can catch all the action live at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on FS1. On Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern and 10 a.m. Pacific, preview next week's iRacing build by catching a special edition of the Porsche All-Star Series on iRacing Live as the All-Stars get a sneak peek at the Porsche 911 GT3R that you can drive in just 1 week's time. For now, though, it's Henrik Krogstad and Joni Ollikainen in victory lane here at the 4th and final round of the iRacing iRX All-Star Invitational presented by Yokohama. What a 4-race season this has been, and the summer of iRX action is just beginning. On behalf of the entire RaceBot TV team, for the iRacing race control team, for Tyler Maxon controlling all the action, for Jonathan Simon, and for myself, Arjuna Kankipati, thank you for watching the 2021 iRacing iRX All-Star Invitational presented by Yokohama, and we'll see you later this year for the 2021 iRacing Rallycross Pro Series.